Okay, so I think we're live. It is 10 past 1 o'clock. Today's the 4th of May, if you could freaking believe that. And it's very, very early Sunday morning, 2025. But look at all the people in here already. Holy crap. Let's see here. Paula Fitzhenry's here. Hi, Paula. How are you? Good to see you. Doodlebug's here. Doodlebug's awesome. Very, very good channel. Love her channel. It's awesome. Dino's in here. Hey, Dino, good to see you. Who else is in here? I think I saw Timmy's Legacy is in here. There she is. There's Miss Barb right there. Who else? Heather Brown's in here. There's Heather. And Miranda. Hi, Miranda. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Hope Heather's doing okay. Anyways, good to see from the 3021. I know who that is now, I think. I think that's Silky T. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure FarQ's in here. Where's FarQ? Where's FarQ? Hey, FarQ, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see everybody. But I'm pretty sure Dirty Diana's in here too. Hi, Dirty Diana. I didn't catch your live this morning. Yesterday morning. I don't know if you had a live or not. I know Adrian was live this morning with the guy, Voorhees, Alex Voorhees. Anyways, let me play an intro and we'll get going on the show here. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's having a good week. I'm still trying to fix my truck, and that's what I've been doing for the past hour. But let me play an intro and I'll be right back, I think. Whoops, wrong one. Let me get rid of my face. Sorry, I'm a little late. I've been working on my truck, but hold on a second. Let me play an intro and I'll be back shortly. Good to see everybody. What am I doing? We'll do the dance one. See you in a bit. Who's banned from Adrian's channel? And what's this going on with owing money here, Dino? Barbara, when Dave pays up, I have sent the last few invoices. It's funny. What's going on? I have no idea what's going on. It's good to see everybody, though. Oh, my face. Sorry. Let's see. It's good to see everybody. Hope Heather Brown's doing okay, like I said. Dirty Diana's in here. She's got an awesome channel. Excellent channel. Doodlebug. I don't think Miranda has a channel yet. I know that Paula Fitzhenry has a channel. Mustang's in here. Good to see Mustang. Timmy's got a channel. Timothy's Legacy. Miss Barb's got a channel. I just watched her recording there. Just watched it like 20 minutes ago, probably. So anyways, long and short of it is about 2 years ago, I brought my truck in to get my truck fixed, and the mechanics there just completely screwed my truck up. So I've been working feverishly trying to get that truck running, and it's just not working. So I've been thinking about suing them, but it's gonna take me just as much money to sue them than to fix it myself. So, but they, anyways. So let's do this here. I just found this. Hold on one second. This just came out about an hour ago. Hope everybody's well, though. Good to see everybody. This just came out about an hour ago. Suspected SK are convicted of a 1991 unaliving in Spring Hill. So let's check this out. Hold on one second. Let me share this. It's always good to see everybody. No heavy, not till Monday night. Did you have a live this morning, Dirty Diana? Stage 4 cancer? Who has stage 4 cancer? I thought I forbid that. All right, let's play this. Hold on one second. How's that even possible? All right, let's see this here. Let's read this here. So more than 3 decades after a pregnant woman's body was discovered in Spring Hill, here we go. A truck driver, a suspected SKer, was convicted in the case. So let's check this out here.
They sentenced a truck driver and suspected serial killer to life in prison for a previously unsolved murder. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 10. I'm Kenley Hargett. Investigators say his DNA was found on 2 other women killed in Wyoming. News 2's Sarah Smith spoke with prosecutors about the case.
34 years of questions and finally justice in the 1991 murder of Pamela McCall.
There's always challenges in cold case homicides, and each case has its own challenges.
On Friday,
Yeah, I think I want to know about this treatment plan. You're starting chemo? Ugh. Well, like I said, we're always here for you, Heather. Why do always things happen to nice people? But we're definitely here for you. Hey, Lisa Joe, good to see you. Lisa Joe's in here. Always thinking about you. Always here for you. All right, back to this here.
a Murray County jury hands down a life sentence to Clark Baldwin, an Iowa man truck driver and suspected serial killer.
In court, it was very eerie because the only expressions I ever saw him make were smiles.
Prosecutors say Baldwin strangles Pamela and dumps her here in Spring Hill. Investigators get the evidence they need and arrest him in 2020.
His only statement after that was, I don't remember.
Investigators say Baldwin's linked to at least 2 other murders in Wyoming. They also say he attacked a woman in Texas, but she got away.
Okay. Did anybody see that? I'll play it again. Hold on a second.
For a previously unsolved murder. Good evening and welcome. I'm Kenley Hargett. Investigators say his DNA was found on 2 other women killed in Wyoming. News 2's Sarah Smith spoke with prosecutors about the case.
34 years of questions and finally justice in the 1991 murder of Pamela McCall.
There's always challenges in cold case homicides, and each case has its own challenges.
On Friday, a Murray County jury hands down a life sentence to Clark Baldwin, an Iowa man truck driver and suspected serial killer.
In court, it was very eerie because the only expressions I ever saw him make were smiles.
Prosecutors say Baldwin strangles Pamela and dumps her here in Spring Hill. Investigators get the evidence they need and arrest him in 2020.
His only statement after that
Yeah, Adrian's awesome. I love her channel. Every time she's on, the good thing about Adrian, she's on when I'm usually awake. So she's got some great stuff. It's not me that's a hellraiser. It's that fine Barb Cotton. She's a savage. Well, good. Uh,
That was, I don't remember.
Investigators say Baldwin's linked to at least 2 other murders in Wyoming. They also say he attacked a woman in Texas, but she got away.
He would give them a ride. He went and he bought them clothes. He bought them shoes. He took them to dinner. And it appears that they were killed when they decided that they wanted to leave.
Right now, Baldwin is in the Murray County Jail waiting to be extradited to Wyoming to face a judge there.
There's 3 bodies that are he's responsible for, and he's going to pay the price for one, and hopefully pay the price for the other 2.
In Murray County, Sarah Smith, News 2.
Pamela's family was in the courtroom when the verdict came down. Prosecutors say
that's awesome.
they're happy to bring some closure to this case.
All right, so that's that. Hold on a second. I do want to go. Let's do this here. Did we do this last week? Hold on a second. Let me switch screens here. Like I said, hope everybody's good. Definitely thinking of Heather here. It's good to see Miranda in the chat too, though. Good to see everybody. I want to do this one. This one here. Hold on a second. I want to do this one here. This is an update on this case. So let me switch screens here. Hold on one second. So this guy here, remember this case? We followed this case a few months ago. This is Anna Nezevich. Remember, she was missing. I think she was in Spain. Was it Spain or Greece? Anna Nezevich's husband, David Nezevich, was charged with unaliving 9 months after she disappeared in Spain. I was right, it was Spain. She vanished last February. Was it this February or last February? And allegedly sent unusual texts to friends claiming she met a new guy, but really investigators said David was behind the texts and her disturbing disappearance. Now Anna's estranged husband was found unalived in his jail cell while awaiting trial. So that's an update on this. So let's check this out. Remember, she went missing in Spain. I think we covered this a couple times.
But will we ever know what truly happened or where she is? It's hard to tell, especially after David was found dead in his jail cell.
That's right. I don't think she was ever found.
Just this week.
I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. David has been behind bars since his arrest last May. Now, he was supposed to stand trial for kidnapping and murder, but his death closes a horrible chapter. Now, Anna's family is left searching for any type of justice.
It was around 8 a.m. Monday morning when David Knezevich was found in his jail cell at a federal detention center in Miami, Florida. Officials say they performed life-saving measures on the 37-year-old, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead the very same morning. His defense attorney seemed shocked, like most of us, to learn the news, writing in a statement, quote, "The defense team is devastated to learn of this news."
So, yeah, it's always good to see you too, Ms. Barb. I'm pretty sure that 3021 is Silky Southern Tea. She's got a great channel too. I was on there a couple times this week. I was on. I'm a little slow with the names here, but eventually I get it. Mar R is cool. I like Mar R. Let's see here. So the defense team is devastated to learn of this news. We sincerely hope that an appropriate and prompt investigation will be conducted. I don't think it really matters at this point.
Sincerely hope that an appropriate and prompt investigation will be conducted, end quote. Now, the defense didn't elaborate on the details of how David died, but you can't help but think the pressure of an impending trial, the fact his case made international headlines, being held on no bond, facing a wrong.
If Adrian hasn't blocked me yet, then you're pretty good. Because Troll farm isn't allowed here, and I got banned. It's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I'll have to look that up. Oh, well, you're always welcome in here. I don't mind opinions in here. Opinions are what makes the world go around. I really, opinions are fine. The thing I don't like is when people talk about other people, especially when I consider them to be friends. But you know, hey, what the hell? All right, let's go to this here. This guy here. This is the guy here that basically unalived himself in jail. So.
Death lawsuit and possibly facing the rest of his life in prison might have weighed heavily on him. And remember, he was in jail in the first place for what he allegedly did to his estranged wife, Ana. Now, she had been living in Madrid, Spain since December of 2023, a move she made for a fresh start, seemingly to get away from her husband. Just a few months into what was supposed to be a fresh start, she disappeared. So this was in early February, and she was last seen alive on February 2nd. Her last moments seen alive were suspicious too. A man wearing a motorcycle helmet was seen in her apartment building, disabling the security cameras by spray painting the lenses. Then the next day, Ana's friends received text messages from Ana's phone that said she was planning to run off with the man she just met. Ana's friends said it wasn't like her to do that, even questioning if those messages actually came from Ana herself. Then Ana went radio silent. No more text, no more calls, nothing. Investigators in both Madrid and Fort Lauderdale took on the case. With still no word as to where she was, detectives learned more, like that Ana was in a nasty divorce process.
Miranda's awesome. I love Miranda. Miranda's an awesome person. Even though she gets mad at me sometimes when I talk about Delphi. But I don't talk about Delphi anymore, usually. Bino Dino was voted drama queen in high school. That's freaking classic. What is non-Hodgkin's lymphoma? I'm going to have to look that up. Jenny, 8675309's in here. Hey, Jenny, how are you? Good to see you. Where's Chuck? And where's Miss Southern Gal? Southern Gal had a great live last night, too. More music trivia. It was awesome. It's always good to see everybody. It's very good to see everybody in here.
Process with her husband, David. The couple was married in 2011, according to prosecutors. But by late 2023, it was no more marital bliss, just contention. Prosecutors say it got that way after David allegedly didn't want to split the marital assets evenly with Ana. Now, in a voice note translated from Spanish on WhatsApp, prosecutors pulled one message Ana sent about her conversation.
Does everybody remember this case? I try to follow as many people as I possibly can. We're still waiting for Mustang to get a channel. At the tavern last night, they had midget tossing.
With David, where he said he only.
What would a live be without Mino Dino and Heather? The winner won one. No kidding. They found a husband dead. Yes, he's dead. He got very dead. I'm trying to read this shit, but I can't. You can't make this as easy or as difficult.
Only wanted to give her 25% of the marital assets. Now, the note said, today.
25%, really? Today my ex made me lose my mind. We were talking about the divorce, and imagine what he told me. First, he told me that once I have papers, to give him the papers. And secondly, he definitely did not want to give me anything. This is weird.
I saw, today my ex made me lose my mind. We were talking about the divorce, and imagine what he told me. First, he told me that once I have papers, to give him the papers. And secondly, he definitely did not want to give me anything since he manages all the money. He would give me something every month. And then he said if I wanted a percentage, instead of giving me the legal percentage of 50%, he would give me 25% and 75% to him. Imagine that, because he is the one, he deserves the most of everything. I don't even deserve, because to him, I am nothing. At the time, on a
Doodlebug, you're awesome. It's always good to see Doodlebug in here. She has great Great stuff. And Mind of Monsters too. I don't understand why I always forget her. Good stuff.
Disappeared, David never filed for divorce. But it's interesting the timing of her disappearance, which came 2 days after Anna gave David an ultimatum. Plus, when she disappeared, David was nowhere to be found. He told Anna's brother he was in Fort Lauderdale, when really he was in Serbia. Now, months went by. Then David was arrested in May of last year at Miami International Airport. Officials say he flew into the States from Serbia, where he
This guy strangely looks really similar to my niece's ex-husband here. It's like almost the spitting images.
been for months. Now, investigators believed it was David who was the man in the helmet last seen with Anna. Police in Spain even said they had security video of David allegedly buying the same brand of spray paint that was on the security camera and duct tape hours before. Then investigators interviewed a woman who said,
I always try to promote, some of the great channels. Dirty Diana's got a great channel. Southern Gal's got a great channel. Rick Snae's got a great channel. Paula Fitzhenry, Florida, Serbia. Can you imagine that? Yeah. I mean, he was all over the place. And of course, Miss Barb's channel is awesome. Mr. Steve, all the great channels. So anytime I can promote the good channels, it's get the word out in some of these cases that a lot of people don't cover. So, I mean, they look happy here. It's just weird.
that David asked her to translate a text message that was sent to Anna's friends after her disappearance. Then a driver in Spain reported his license plates were stolen. A license plate reader recorded those very same plate numbers on her apartment street. Now, that driver couldn't be seen behind the tinted windows, but the car with the stolen plates went through a toll booth in Madrid. Now, despite not seeing the driver's
Thank you, Doodlebug, for doing that. Southern Gal's awesome. She had a great live last night with the music trivia. I was driving around, so I couldn't answer all of them, but thank you, Doodlebug, again. That's right. Honeybee's got a great channel, too. Honeybee's amazing.
face, it all started adding up that David might allegedly be behind this. Now, according to the FBI, David rented.
She doesn't look Spanish. Or maybe she is. She looks, I don't know. She look Spanish? Looks a little bit more Greek to me.
Rented the car in Serbia prior to Anna's disappearance and returned the car weeks later. And a lot of miles were on that car. 4,800 miles. Even with David locked up for almost a year prior to his death,
Yeah, Honeybee's okay. I talked to Honeybee a couple weeks ago. She's fine. Dealing with some other issues of hers. But Honeybee's amazing. Honeybee's awesome. She's got a great channel. It's the time of the month. Dino's awesome. I still want to know what Charles is. Farmer has a great channel too. I was on Farmer tonight. He was doing I think he wanted to do the UFO stuff, but he ended up doing some of that. I think he was cooking or something like that. Arctic Fox True Crime is good too. Awesome channel.
investigators still haven't found Anna and presumably her body, leaving her family with so many unanswered questions in light of David's death this week. Now, in a statement, Anna's family wrote, quote, "The suicide of Anna's murderer closes a painful chapter in our lives.
Oh, that's right.
Previously filled with the dread that he might not face justice."
Yeah, it was Southern Gal's birthday yesterday, I think. So happy belated birthday to her. Who's not on his channel yet? Farmer? Suicide of Anna's murderer closes a painful chapter in our lives. Yeah, this kind of sucks though, because now they're not, I mean, I guess it doesn't suck if it depends, right? There's not going to be a trial now, I don't think.
Now we may never know where he put Anna's body. It is a cruel final insult that we may never recover Anna's remains or know the full extent of the betrayal she suffered. Still,
Oh yeah, that's right. Now they'll probably never find her. Oh, that does suck.
we remain committed to seeking the truth and justice for Anna through our attorney, Mr. Einberg, and preserving Anna's memory while honoring her life with dignity, strength, and love. We are thankful to the authorities that they continue to investigate and to search for Anna's body.
A heartbreaking statement from a family who just wants justice. In light of David's death, I want to bring on now prison consultant Justin Paperny. Justin, always great to see you, and thank you so much for joining.
Shibby's here. Shibby's awesome. Appreciate that, buddy. Definitely appreciate that. It's good to see sweet dude Shibby in here. I think he lives in Canada. Don't hold that against him. But it's always good to see everybody. Like I said, I hope everybody's having a good week, good weekend.
Joining me today. What's your reaction to David Knezevich's death?
It's a tragedy all the way around, especially for this woman's family. They're never going to get clarity. It's never going to be aired out in a court of law with evidence and transcripts, the digital evidence the government had. So now they're going to continue to suffer, live through this fog of.
What time does he does his live? I didn't know he does his lives on Saturday night. If I told you, who is that? That's Charlie Pride. Is that Charlie Pride? No, that wasn't Charlie Pride.
Uncertainty.
When are you going to go? When are you going to know? When are you going to go back? Are you going back to the doctor, Heather? At some point?
Perhaps this person, the alleged killer, may take his knowledge of where she is to the grave. Now he's the only one that may know. So I feel such pain and agony for this family who deserves clarity, and they may never get it. It's absolutely terrible. I empathize with them.
Yeah, and it's just horrible. I remember us getting the news of it, and we were all just kind of shocked, even here. And it seems like it kind of came out of nowhere, but I can only imagine that something might have just like clicked, and he made the decision that he did. But what's it like for inmates or detainees while they're on the inside and some do choose to take this way out?
Look, the rates of suicide in prison are low, but as we know, it happens. And when the weight of a life sentence.
Yeah, it's Tracy Fleetwood. Hey, Tracy, good to see you. Bellamy Brothers. Yeah, that's what I thought. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. Yes, she will beat it. You go again next week. Okay. It's good to see Tracy in here. It's good to see everybody in here. I kind of miss if you didn't have a live, it sucks. I always try to make the lives that you have. So I kind of, it makes me sad that you didn't have one. What's a prison consultant? I have no clue. It doesn't sound good though.
Sentence and decades in prison kicks in when the thought that perhaps I could be acquitted gives way to the digital evidence they probably have. In some instances, it's too much.
I do. I always appreciate all the people who were here for us. I'm pretty sure Karen Lee was here too. I think my very first person that was on one of my lives was Copper Horse, but I could be wrong about that. But sweet dude Shibby's got a channel too. I didn't know that. But I do. I appreciate Miranda. Miranda, you're always welcome here. Miranda's an awesome person. We are the late night, absolutely. Thank you, Doodlebug, for doing all of that stuff, sharing all these channels. All these channels are great. I'm going to try to do the ticker. Let me know if it causes a problem for the live. Sometimes it slows it down a little bit, but we'll run it anyways. Shibby has a channel. That's what I said. Important. Did you like? Haven't seen Copper Horse in a while either. She's usually in what's his name now? The Mob Crew. All right, let's get back to this here. We'll play a little bit more of this and then we'll move on to something else.
For someone to bear. And despite prisons claiming to have suicide protocols, it sounds good on paper. It sounds good for taxpayers and stakeholders. But in reality, if someone is that driven to take their own life, even in a higher security prison, it's absolutely going to happen. And now you could have his family, others saying technically he was never convicted.
Woman doing chaos is in here. Hey, woman, good to see you. You want to see what? I have no idea what this is from your mom. I don't even want to know. Who is Mujer? Did I say that wrong? Larry Levine. It's always good to see everybody in here. Good to see women in here. I know that Dino was one of my firsts too. Dino and pretty sure Dino and Heather and Miranda, Honeybee for sure.
He didn't do it, so they can create their own message. And again, the real devastation is for this family who is just going to continue to grieve and suffer through unanswered questions that a trial could have brought to light.
And one question in my mind is like, how something like this happens, especially in federal custody? I mean, it's not.
Some of these people they have on these channels are just, yeah. They always have that guy from the interview room too. He's an idiot. Gray calls him Mr. Chris McDummy.
Out of the usual, because we have seen it in other cases, right? But are there not around the clock checks that happen at night where, something like this, maybe a guard could have checked in maybe an hour or two earlier, maybe, just those typical checkpoints that you would think would happen inside federal custody. But what do you think happened there as far as just not being checked on for hours?
Look, prisons care about security and control. We know that. But if someone is that driven to take their own life, and if they sense any opportunity, they're going to seize it. So certainly the prison bears some blame, because when you have someone looking at life in prison for murder, and if there's mental health issues, well, that person needs to be on the radar. But there's only so much they can do. There's only so much money they have. We're in a country right now with spending cuts. We need to embrace that. Our nonprofit does work in California, and we got notice that all of the reentry funding has been cut. Let's embrace the last thing a lot of people care about are people in prison, right? So this is the sign of the times. And when he saw an opportunity, he seized it. And the family of this wonderful woman.
Look, you can tell me all you want about this stuff. So you've been jail or been to prison, you just, they can do whatever they want. There's just no, it's just crazy. I mean, it's, this guy's a dick, pretty much. All right, so let's move on to something else. I thought they were going to talk about the case, but they're talking about this prison reform and all this or whatever. Anyways, this guy's dead. So I don't think they're ever going to find. Hopefully, they find her, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not without him, anyways. And who knows? Everybody's supposedly innocent until proven guilty. So who knows? Yes, we need mental health care back for sure. That's what I'm yelling for. Missing man is just like anything else. Yep, for sure. Prisons are a tough place. I mean, prisons, you go to prison, everybody tells you they're innocent. Everybody in prison's innocent. And everybody in prison finds God. It's amazing. All right, so this is going to be a little bit disturbing here. I ran across this case earlier today. Or was it yesterday? No, it was today. It had to have been today because this was done 10 hours ago. This is going to be really weird. So body cam footage shows Ohio police finding a woman stuck in a plastic storage container after being kidnapped. Authorities say Delante Rashawn allegedly put her in a container after a series of horrific events. So this is going to be a little bit weird here, a little bit bizarre. But this is pretty creepy here. Let me share this. Hold on a second. You're innocent.
It's just after 3:30 p.m. in Cleveland, Ohio, when police get called to a spot that is about to get.
I do say, they just need to pour a ton of money into research for mental illness. It's just, It's got to happen because until they do that, this stuff here, stuff is just going to keep happening. Mental illness is a serious problem.
Get hot.
Bro, y'all can't be here like this. You can't be here like this, bro.
I'm just knocking on your door.
I understand that, but you making me hot.
What?
You're making me hot.
What does that mean?
I'm about to come out.
All right, come on out.
All right.
Apparently, this all started in front from PR. Give me a few minutes to take a look.
How you doing, sir?
Y'all can't be out here like this.
My name's Officer Robles. That's Officer Obed. Just
That's
so you know,
cool.
everything's recorded.
Listen,
Yes?
turn on.
Usually, the conversation is not going to go well when you have a guy coming out of the house saying, "You guys are not supposed to be out here like this." It's just probably not going to go well.
Those cameras off, please.
Well, what's going on?
Can you please turn the cameras off?
You have to give me a reason, and I can.
You guys are making my spot hot. I work for you guys, okay? Long story short, I work for you guys. Please get out here. You guys are blowing the spot up. All right?
Who do you work for?
I can't tell you that.
Why?
I cannot tell you that because I'm not allowed to tell you that. Okay, so just understand that.
Well, here,
Go home.
we have a call. Here, sir, let me just tell you why we're here, and then we'll leave. It could be nothing. I don't know. I don't know anything about you.
All right, I'm just saying y'all can't be here. Y'all making my spot hot. All right?
Well, that
Work
doesn't
with you
make
guys.
that doesn't make any sense.
I don't. You don't need to make sense to y'all. You hear me? So what I need y'all to do.
Hey,
is
sorry, can you
leave.
come over to this address for a minute?
No, don't do that, bro. You're going to.
31-year-old Delonte Edmund Geiger is suspected of having a woman tied up in his basement, but he's more worried about his side gig as a confidential informant getting him tied up in the neighborhood.
Okay. Long story short, I need y'all to leave. Make a phone call. Well, we're not gonna leave that quickly until the pharaohs.
He's top secret, but he's just wearing all red. He's sticking out like a cardinal here. Like this is I don't know. This whole thing is weird. I saw this earlier.
Well, there's nothing.
So we were told that a lady's tied up in the basement.
There ain't nobody tied up in the basement.
Can we look?
No, but
Why not?
Because I say so.
Is someone tied up down there?
No.
What's your name, buddy?
I can't tell you that, bro.
What do you mean you can't tell me that? This your truck?
My dump truck, that's my company truck. That's right. Yeah, there's nothing going on with
Is it in your name?
No.
Then why don't you want to tell us who you are?
Ooh, I'm trying to tell you I'm a confidential informant. That's all I have to say. You guys are bugging right now. You guys are
No,
bugging.
that's not all you have to say. Who told you that?
I can't say nothing else.
Well, if
Please.
there's someone tied up in the basement, we got a
There's
problem.
nobody in the basement. I just what I
So
really,
why can't I look?
why do you
Because all that stuff that went on in the past with those three girls, man, we got to take this seriously.
what
and
three
look into
girls?
it.
What three girls?
The Gina De Jesus,
And I don't know them hoes.
all
Man,
that
y'all
stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
though?
I'm
If
about
we
to
don't take this seriously,
I'm
and
about
there's
to give
something
you
going
my,
on.
I'm about to give you my social security number.
Oh yeah,
Here you go. Stop. Please don't
it's
do
all
that.
right.
Yeah, please
We're
don't.
not going in without you.
Yeah, you can't do that. Tell him please not to do that. Do what? Like you
not going in your
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
Sergeant, please tell him not
Back
to
up.
do that.
He's not going.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my social security number.
All right.
I want you to run it.
All right.
Okay?
What do you
My
got?
gonna come up clean. What's going on is you guys had a crackhead make a false complaint.
All right.
Okay?
Well, that's an answer.
That's it.
Well, then we still have to follow up on it.
There's nothing going on, sir.
All right, but do you understand our point?
I understand your point. You're
If
asking
we
me
just walk away and somebody actually is there, what are we going to do?
well, that's what you guys are gonna have to do because I'm not letting you inside.
So
That's
you
what
see
it's
where you see where the problem lies?
No, there is no problem.
We don't just write, he said it's cool, and we leave.
Well, that's how it goes. Because if I don't
No,
let
that's
you in-
not.
So how you? What do you mean? Well, listen,
So they're not going to let this go.
no, listen.
So either today, tomorrow, the next day, in the next 5 minutes, you're going to continuously have these problems. And if we have to tell Detective Smith and say, hey, do you think this guy would have a girl tied up in his basement?
He's gonna say no.
Is he?
100%, bro. I just
He's
let-
willing to risk his career for all that?
You think I'm bullshit? Oh my gosh, you're gonna take a crackhead's word over Detective Smith's word, right?
I haven't spoken to Detective Smith.
Well, you're gonna talk to him. He's gonna let you know what's going on. I was down there for an hour with him yesterday.
Okay.
I just left my probation
But
officer.
why
in my
would
dress.
somebody
Because
say?
they're crackheads.
But why would a
They're
crackhead
crackheads.
say that about
They're
you?
crackheads, but probably because they want more crack, bro.
Do you have crack?
No, I'm not gonna. Why would I say that? Why would you ask me that on
Freaking do you have crack?
camera?
I don't
Why do
know.
you do that to me? I know I don't have no crack.
It's my job. Well, why would the crackhead be here then?
This man is wild.
I'm not wild. I'm just
I
asking
am a
questions.
confidential informant.
What does that convey, though? The confidential informant usually has the policeman or officer or detective with them
No, it
when
don't.
they're working. That's kind of
I
how that
understand
works.
what you're saying, but what I am saying,
And then most confidential informants don't come screaming out the back door. I'm a confidential informant, do they?
dude, listen, but what I'm saying, I'm gonna let you guys know this. I want you guys to know what's going on in my backyard.
All bringing up good points.
Okay, this is what happened. This is what's going on.
Okay.
Okay, listen. I'm not doing nothing illegal, but I work for you guys.
That's what you said for the last 10 or 15 minutes.
There's nothing going on. Please do your please do your homework and research.
I have no homework and I have no research.
Call Detective Smith.
And what's he going to tell me?
He's going to tell you that I am valid and everything is okay.
Okay, but is he going to tell me that there's not a girl tied up in your basement?
Of course, because he's never been
Okay,
in.
is he going to be for sure?
Yes.
How do I know?
How does he know?
Yeah, how does he
He said
know?
he's never been here. How does he know there's not a girl tied up?
Well, so I guess you guys are going to take the crackhead's word off the mouth. Nobody knows.
Listen,
Hey, I want to thank Upside for sponsoring this body cam. Upside is a free
Shout out.
app that gets you cash back on daily essentials like gas.
Oh my God, it's a red door and red stairs too.
I know there was a lot of music. I had to knock for a minute on the bag. So,
Control this. All right, let's go now.
huh?
Oh my God, that is just too funny. Oh,
What's his name again?
Front door, Sarge. He just came to the front door.
Oh, did he?
Coming.
Yes, you can, bro. Yes, you can.
I talked to your officers coming.
Talk to Detective Smith. I only need you in my house, bro.
It's a senior guy. Trust me, we'll be fine. Please. You understand the safety issue of it, right? For a police officer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Trust me,
No,
he's fine. He's a senior guy.
Anybody got a lighter? Can I smoke? My
I
nerves
do. If you,
My nerves are really bad.
let's get on the ring. I got a light.
Just stay here.
Well, I want to get out of here too. Trust me. I talked to Detective Smith, but hey, you mind if
No, dude.
there's too much
Just
going
roll
on.
aside.
Just
No.
All right, stand outside. Leave this crack though in case you scream.
The basement is empty, but police aren't sold. That's the end of this story.
See you, bro. No cost.
Okay. I know.
Later that night, a different informant tells a haunting tale about Delante, who she calls blessed.
So what's going on?
So I guess he, Blessed did his homework and found out that he was trying to set him up. So.
Wait, can you 1 second?
I'm sorry, I don't ask.
No, you're good.
I'm so freaked out.
Who's blessed?
Blessed is the one in the house that murdered.
What's he look like?
About 5'3", dark skin. He's the one serving the dope out of there.
Okay.
It's his house. He owns the house. And I go to house. I wake up about 6 o'clock tonight. He calls me and said, "I want you to come over. I want to talk to you."
Oh wait, what about? Go back. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go back to when he picked up, and you said,
I'm at the house when we see her walking down the street.
Okay.
She gets in the car with him immediately. And they get to the stop sign, her, DJ, and Les. You know, I just returned the phone or whatever. And they're like, hey, you would want to ride back? I'm like, sure. But it looked like it was me trying to set him up because they got, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess he did his homework. He's supposedly playing off one of your guys' detectives. And they told him that he was trying to set him up. So he had him over there yesterday. And his girlfriend, he has a girlfriend named who's a black girl. And they tied her up, stabbed her, beat her, and killed her. He showed me pictures. He made her write 1,000 times, I am a rat, I am a snitch, I am a rat, I am a snitch. And then where he murdered her at, he ripped up where the fireplace is, he ripped up all of like the tile right there. He told me I have to paint it and I have no choice. He wants me to paint it tomorrow. And he was telling me everything about my peers. He said, I'll kill you too. He's like, just be a little harder. But he literally is a piece of shit. And he took, I guess he put her in the basement. My friend Katie seen her in the basement and called the police. And they said he called the detective. The detective said, well, just let them search your basement. So he moved her body from the basement to upstairs and let the cops come in and search the basement and left. He stabbed her in her right arm, which is on the pictures. She's bound up naked. She's naked in front of the fireplace, like tied with like zip ties. You can see her writing with a pencil and a piece of paper. He stabbed her in the right arm and he beat her so bad she couldn't open her eyes. But Gilly said he kept feeding her crack to keep her alive, but he beat her for 3 hours and then murdered her.
Who said that?
What?
Who said that? Told you this?
And showed me pictures on his phone of her dead body.
Why'd he do all that?
He said he trusts me. I don't know why. He was like, he's like, I made my girlfriend help beat her up. He's like, I'm just letting you know.
You kind of have to cherry pick through the bullshit, right? You got to kind of try to be almost psychic to try to figure out what's true and what's not here.
And I'll do the same thing to you.
Police head back to the House of Horrors, this time with more urgency and looking for a body.
And I got off the phone. Okay.
Hey, did you talk to Detective Smith? He tell you what's going on?
Yes. All right. So I appreciate this. He's a lighter before this.
Yeah.
You know my number. What's up, bro? How y'all doing? Same people.
Yeah. I'm in the overtime now, man.
You gotta come through the back, okay?
Yeah, I can do that.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
All right, well,
Sorry for not
still
letting you in
trying to
earlier, bro. Sorry for my attitude, okay? All right, bro. Give me 5 seconds.
Meet me at the back door?
All y'all.
All right. Hey, watch your front to see if someone will walk with us first. If that chick's in there, she might be leaving. Doesn't matter, right? It'd be funny if he never comes back and he stole my lighter. Yeah. Joke's on him. I found that lighter. It's all one room.
Yeah.
It's all one room.
There's a shoe on that or something.
He's not good at hiding.
This is a classic.
No.
Yo,
Jake.
Do they know what I told you about, though?
Listen, we're here to look to see for a body. That's it. You give us consent to make sure there's no one laying dead in here?
This is my uncle.
All right.
Go outside. Okay. You gonna let him out?
Yeah. You take off, man.
You give us consent? Come on, man. I'm gonna walk out through this.
As the officers search the house, they hear a harrowing sound coming through the walls.
Hey, Sarge, come down here a minute.
Copy.
Is anybody on that front porch? Whoa.
So what's that noise I keep hearing? That you keep turning the music up on when I hear something?
I heard him dragging something out when he went from the front to the back. Too, you know?
Is anybody in that front? Because I heard voices. Yeah. Who's up there?
Oh.
Who's up there?
What is that?
Can you hear it?
Clint, please. Where are you at?
She's under. There's a thing under. Remember I shined my flashlight?
Do you need help?
My God. I'm looking that up now for you, Miranda. Ron Logan's in here. Good to see Ron Logan. It's always good to see Ron Logan. How are the goats? I'm looking at, is it Christopher Schur? Yeah, all right.
All right. Clint, please. Sam 24, can you get us another car over here?
All right. Sliding something under there. We'll get it from the front to the back.
Where are you at?
Where you at, man?
M35, you can send us CM24 numbers.
Hello, 50.
All right, we're looking. Hey, how do you get to her? In the black box?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Radio City MS.
I'm paralyzed.
Oh my gosh.
I'm paralyzed.
All right. How old are you?
I'm 60.
6-year-old female. Step up EMS.
60-year-old female.
Are you injured besides that?
I'm paralyzed.
You're paralyzed.
She's right there.
I'm paralyzed. What's your name?
EMS is en route. Are you cold?
I hurt.
You hurt? All right. We want to get you out of there, but I'm afraid to move you. I'm going to let EMS do all that, okay?
I hurt so bad.
What did he do to you?
He kicked me punch.
He did what?
Kicked me
Hey,
punch.
Scott, you want fire to come? At least get her upright.
She says she's paralyzed. I don't know.
I know, but we get fire.
Unbelievable. This is ridiculous. Oh.
Are they here?
No, you got no QTA. I mean,
They've been dispatched.
huh?
Did he stab you?
Yeah.
Where are you stabbed, do you think?
I don't know.
Your arm? All right. Did he sexually assault you at all?
No.
Okay.
This is going to be very disturbing here. This is just ridiculous.
Do you know how long you've been here?
No.
Is it just one day?
Yeah.
Delonte is taken into custody as the victim is carefully transported to the hospital.
I was lupus, but like I wasn't going to kill her though. I wasn't going to. I've been beating her, and you know what I'm saying. But I just can't have her out on this. I just because I'm working with Detective Swift, trying to get him 10 guns, 5 AKs, 4 Glocks, 3. That's supposed to be going into the valley like next week. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get him 6 ounces a day on coke crack. You know, I'm trying to get him prescriptions of ounces a day, but like I found out that this is that, and you know what I'm saying. If I was, you found out that what that the lady that what I was taking care of in my house is a rat, and if she was to get back out on the street, exposed, and die, get killed. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm new to this. I understand. I fucked up. I know I can't get.
Yeah, he's changed colors for sure. He's going to be in those orange colors for a while.
this is bad. You know what I'm saying? I know what's going on. I know it's bad.
Delonte recounts the gruesome details of this nightmare like it's just another day.
So yesterday was Tuesday, so she probably got there like Monday or something.
Yeah, Monday she was kicking it, cool, calm, collected, hold up. You know what I'm saying? Eating, lying to me. Like, dude, you fucking like, why do that? You know what I'm saying? So that's how that went down, bro. And I apologize, bro.
Okay.
But I just ain't trying to die out here in these streets with these crackheads. Because this is serious. Niggas die. I keep on telling them, like, I need to talk to a corporal. Put me in a room by myself. Like, the way y'all play that, like, it was 50 cars in front of my house. I don't think the streets talk. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. Like, so, like, I f***ed up, bro. But, like, I'm new to this. And
Does this guy actually think he's fooling anybody? Is that possible? Do you think he's mentally? Do you think he's got to have mental problems? He's got to have it. He doesn't. He can't possibly think he's fooling people.
like, my life is in danger, bro. People have tried to kill me 3 times already. You feel me? I've been shot in my stabbed on me, my underarm, blood, all type of weird. This is crazy. I felt like I was gonna die if I didn't hold her for like 2 days and tell her, like, let her know what was going on. Go kill the bitch. Feel like the bitch would have been dead. Long story short, if I wanted to kill her, she would have been dead.
Would you mind walking me through again? I know it's a little tough right now, and it's bad time, but like everything that went through, like the time where you were together, like what happened during those days.
I just punched on her, slapped on her, till her good. Punched on her, slapped on her, punched on her, slapped on her, punched on her, slapped on her, moved her from the basement to another room, fed her, showered her, gave her some water, put a blanket over her. I'm just telling you the truth, bro.
No, that's fine.
Was I raping her? No.
Okay.
Was that what you about to ask me?
No,
No,
like were you giving her drugs and stuff like that?
Why would I give her my drugs? Why would I do that?
Why would I give her my drugs? Unbelievable. I think he's insulting people's intelligence. Absolutely. Why would I give her my drugs?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right. So at any point when was she asking to leave, different things like that?
She has nowhere to go.
Okay.
She has nowhere to go. All she was just asking was why. Stop. I won't do it again. I'll never tell. I'll never tell, Blast. Please. I'll never tell. I know I deserve this, but I'll never tell. Like, that's the code in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You know, I got 4 beautiful kids.
Okay. So during this time when the traffic stop occurs and she goes on her way, was there anybody that ever said, like, besides, like, if she was doing anything that, like, yeah, she told me that?
No, I thought it was somebody else until I did my homework.
Okay. So this is all you transpiring, doing everything, doing all your own stuff in your head and, like, hey.
Listen to the detectives as we all got out the car. The detectives like, yeah, you can go. Thank you.
Yeah, this guy has something. There's something wrong up here with this guy. He's not all there, I don't think.
Okay.
You ain't even get searched. It's crap about $200 worth of dope in the car at scale, and you didn't even get searched.
Yeah.
No, get your bag. You're forgetting your bag.
They're helping her out. Back to the cuffs.
Don't forget your bag. Go ahead, go. Thank you.
Delonte mocks police and then tries to cut a deal to dodge the charges.
For real, I like this. I see it on TV. I'm excited. I'm so slick. I'm slicker than deer shit. Y'all, man, I almost got away. Y'all motherfuckers. Them cops horrible, boy. I'm slick, boy. I ain't even trying to brag nor boast. Not trying to brag nor boast, bro.
Yeah, this guy is good. Oh.
I'm saying I'm gonna help y'all out. Flat out, but I can't sit in this room. I can get keys and keys and keys and keys and guns. You're gonna see it in my phone. I know everybody big. I just want to know. I know I'm in trouble right now. With this can get handled after I make those busts for y'all. You know what I'm saying? The judge will understand that. She should understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. So, like, I need to go home.
But home is the last place this architect.
This guy. Dude, you ain't going home for a while. That's fucking classic. That was... it is sad. It's very sad. But this guy here, he needs to be behind bars for a while, but that's not probably going to happen. He's probably going to get out within another couple of years or so. I mean, it's just sad. It's going to happen. Going to happen again and again and again. Hopefully he gets, hopefully something does happen. But I think this guy has some mental issues, be honest with you. All right, so we're going to go to something else here. I wanted to play that because it's just the red jumpsuit really got me. All right, so let's get out of this here. I do want to play this here because this is the latest on the Dane Elkins case here. Hold on one second here. Does everybody remember the Dane Elkins case? We covered that. I'm pretty sure everybody's covered the Dane Elkins case here, but this is the latest. Whoops. I don't want to report her.
We cover missing person cases from across the country, no matter their race.
So let's see here. So just brush everybody up on this here. Dane Brian Elkins was last seen by family or friends on December 21st, 2020. His last known location at 8:20 p.m. southbound on the 5 freeway, now Templin Highway and Pyramid Lake in Castaic. Elkins had called 911 twice that evening, but when officers arrived, he was nowhere to be found. We all know about this, right? We all know about this guy. According to his mother, Elkins interacted with two witnesses in Mojave, California, near the intersection of We've Been There 14 Freeway and Mojave Barstow Highway on February 5th, about 50 miles north of Santa Clarita Valley. So let's play this here because this is the latest on this. Am I sharing this yet? Okay, yep. Everybody remember this case? We did this a couple times. But this is part of the missing we try to do at least once a week or once a month now. I haven't done this in a while, but this is the latest. Dane Elkins missing case gains new leads. Let's see here. Dane Elkins' brother makes a rare plea for the missing racquetball star to come home. Elkins was 21 years old and was studying engineering at the University of California, Santa Cruz at the time of his disappearance. So let's try this here.
Race, religion, background, or circumstances, because we.
Oh, she looks
believe
awful.
Every missing
She looks terrible. Doesn't she look terrible? She looks really thin.
person matters. Many of the cases that we cover come from you. And we think that each of these cases, you play a role in helping bring answers to family and to friends and closure to those who have been looking for their loved one. This week, we are highlighting several cases that have been on our radar, starting with the search for Dane Elkins. His disappearance has been all over social media, led by his mom, Deborah, tirelessly trying to keep the case in the headlines and bring Dane home. A little bit about Dane's case before we meet with Deborah and his brother Cody. Dane was
Pretty sure I know who Ron Logan is, but does everybody remember this guy here? She doesn't look healthy, does she? She doesn't look. She might be. She just looks really thin here.
21 years old when he was last seen in December of 2020. It was right around Christmas time. He is from California. He's an engineering student at the time at the University of Santa Cruz. He had a black belt in karate. He was a racquetball champion. He won 23 junior national titles. Off the court, Dane's family says he is a funny guy. He loved his families. He enjoyed making silly music videos with his siblings. Here's one of them. Dane enjoyed hanging out with his family, never missing a celebration of a birthday or a holiday. The pandemic, however, was tough on Dane. He struggled with isolation, as many young people his age did. His mom started to notice some changes, displaying signs of paranoia. He believed that the government was after him and his family, and at one point was living in his car. That car was found with a flat tire, abandoned on the side of the highway. His cell phone and his wallet inside. possible sightings of Dane. I'd like to welcome in now Deborah and Cody Elkins, Dane's mom and brother. Thank you both so much for being here. Deborah, you and I have talked a number of times over the years. Cody, this is the first time that you have joined us, and I know that it was important for you to do so, to reach out to your brother and to everybody who's following his case. Why was it important for you to use your voice now?
It's important. I first want to say thank you so much for having us on and covering all these untold stories of missing people, because sometimes they don't get the spotlight and the attention. As far as my brother, I really want people to know like the person he is. And I know that there was a News Nation thing that went viral. It had 3 million views and people were commenting conspiracy theories like my brother's the real Luigi Mangione. And I really wanted to dispel that, because
how do they get that from that? That's so weird.
It's sad. He's a great brother and a role model, and the mental health stigma surrounding it, to have people paint him as a fugitive, when if he was a fugitive, 16-year-old me thought he would have been found. So that really did hurt, and it wasn't nice to see those comments.
Yeah, well, Cody, I appreciate you saying that, because that was an unfortunate part of our coverage. I think just because your brother looked a little bit like Luigi Mangione, it's why it got that attention. But boy, we have covered your brother's story.
Really? This guy's way too, I don't know. The guy, Luigi, the guy that he's definitely Italian. This guy isn't Italian, I don't think.
From the start, and he's funny, he's silly, he loves his family. Deborah, as you and I have talked over the years, he cared deeply about people, and he was kind and is kind. Cody, tell me about being Dane's brother, some of your favorite memories together.
Well, we used to do karate as kids. We'd always walk down the street, you know, he'd always.
First of all, I don't think Italian people get this tall. I could be wrong.
Let's make sure no cars hit us, and like he'd tell us to be careful when we walked. As far as on the racquetball court, we used to always train together. Even though I was his little brother and I wasn't as good at the time, we'd always go to tournaments together. And even now, I still follow in his footsteps. I play the pro racquetball tour, but not having him there, you know, I know he'd be proud of me. I made Team USA for the first time, but it was really sad because I didn't have him to share it with. And so as I keep going down that path, it is hard to continue, but my brother used to always tell me, even when we'd run, he'd say, always push yourself, Cody, and don't ever give up on yourself.
I'm the guy that needs the razor.
We're trying not to give up on him and keep his whole energy, the person he was, the great big brother and the role model he was. We're trying to keep that alive.
Yeah. I wonder, and this question is to both of you, but I guess I can start with you, Cody. You know, as I have followed Dane's story, you know, Deborah and I have talked about whether he's.
Yeah, I try to get at least one. This was due though. This came out yesterday, I think. I think this guy might have just taken off. Who knows?
Off the grid and living in a homeless camp somewhere. Maybe he's seeing coverage. Do you get a sense that he wants to know that you guys are okay, that he maybe wants to reach out, or that he is following the coverage? And if at any point he is able to see and hear your voice.
I think he's just really scared. He was super paranoid. He was suffering from paranoia. I think he's just scared. And, you know, if you see him, we just want people to be friendly and kind to him, offer him food, offer him water. But he was so scared, and the conversations we had leading up to his disappearance, you know, and that's hard. Like the mental illness, it really takes over your mind. A lot of people don't understand that. Like he wasn't himself. And so, you know, I love him and we just want to get him help. If I had to go and camp out with him for weeks to try and get him to get help, I would do that. You know, I'd document it, whatever I had to do, but I'd do anything to get my brother back. But it's just a waiting game at this point. But you know, America's Most Wanted is highlighting my brother's story, and hopefully he's found soon and we can get him help.
Yeah, I hope so. Deborah, can you talk about that? So I know his story is getting some extra coverage. Tell me more about how that came about.
So again, Marnie, thank you so much, because every time that we're here, and I'm so happy that Cody is here so you can meet Cody, because he's been such a big part of my support. every single time we're on, it just takes one person. And so thank you for taking the time to talk to us again. When we reach millions, it just increases our chance.
This guy here reminds me a little of Brian Kohlberger. I don't know why, but I think this guy here may be suffering from some sort of mental illness kind of thing, but kind of has the same kind of mannerisms.
Chances that much. And the last time I was on with the viral TikTok, I got more sightings than I've ever gotten. So one of those sightings.
Checks in the mail, bro. Should be. It was a hell of a party. Yes, mental illness is definitely a problem. I just think this guy had some sort of a maybe not. Who knows?
Was Modesto. So he still could be near Modesto. Like she was sure, the mom was sure. She didn't want to go on camera. She's very shy, but every time we go on, we get sightings. So one of those days, one person.
Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit more of this. Hold on a second. Do we read the two women spoke with a man assumed to be Elkins and brought him lunch, during which he reportedly told them he was traveling on. Hold on here. I guess I can share this. Hold on one second. I hate reading alone. This is coming from missing persons here. His mother mentioned that his destination made sense due to another potential sighting in Bakersfield that had been investigated previously. These sightings, I'm not really. This guy looks like just about everybody. So I'm glad that he had survival skills to make it through the winter, to make it to February. But how do they know this guy's even alive? The witness further added Elkins mentioned he was on his way to Portland, Oregon, where he had played some racquetball tournaments. He is said to have had a backpack and another type of pack he was carrying. The witnesses were selling cell phones, and he may have purchased a cell phone. Wouldn't they have a receipt? That's so weird. If you see Dane Brian Elkins anywhere, please do not make contact. Call your local emergency number. You can also let them know that they are profiled on the site. This way they can visit the profile and get information faster to follow up. That's what we're watching right now. Okay, so let's go back. I don't know, how do they know this guy's alive? JCN's here. JCN's awesome too. I think they're hoping, right? The hope is there. I don't know. That is strange why they said that. Why don't approach him? I'm 50-50 whether this guy's even alive or not.
It just takes one person. So I just wanted to tell you, so much is happening with Cody in his life. And I don't think people understand, because I've come on so many times, it's not just me missing my son. There's all these things happening with Cody and that he wants to share with Dane. Do you want to talk about the little things?
It's really hard. Like I got into college recently, when I graduated high school, not seeing him in the stands, just the little things that I never think of, that like the day-to-day, asking my brother for advice on things, like girls, whatever it might be, racquetball, how to train, this and that. He was such an interesting guy. Like even cold showers, he would take cold showers, and I still do that to this day. He would always experiment with things. And
JCN's got a great channel too. If she's in here, I know I might have missed her coming in. It's good to see you, JCN.
So to not have him there to like work on self-improvement with, that's been really difficult.
Yeah. And just, I mean, life's milestones, right? I mean, birthday parties and holidays and just like an everyday, right, Cody, where you want to turn to your brother and tell him a story about something, you know, that happened to you that day. That's got to be really, really tough.
Yeah. The birthdays, Dane's birthdays are the hardest because I always go to the two spots that he took me on my birthday, which was Paquito and O Sushi. And yeah, and I always try and we have like family discussions and we talk about what would Dane want us to work on and improve on. And so I always try and filter those conversations and so we can have like a meaningful discussion as a family.
Yeah.
But it's always an emptiness and a void.
I'm sure,
Not having
and gets worse over time. Deborah, the recent sighting, can you tell us any more about that might help if somebody else comes across him? And you mentioned Modesto. How close is that to you guys?
It's about 4 hours away, and Modesto.
Oh yeah, I forgot to let people know. I finally made a Facebook page, and I think the name is Owl on the Prowl. I could be wrong. No, Dave isn't dangerous anymore. I don't know why I made a Facebook page, but I just did.
Modesto was one of the most credible sightings where Dane actually approached a few people for money, and they gave him money, and he used his name by accident. They called him Dan, and he said Dane. So to get another sighting by two people in that area in 2020.
Does anybody actually believe that? I think that would be, I mean, I would think that that's more likely to be some sort of a scam. Like if you have this guy's, you know, stuff all over the place, missing pamphlets all over the place, then the guy probably was just trying to scam people out of money, maybe. Because I'm pretty sure a lot of people look like this guy and could pass for this guy. But I mean, it's just my opinion.
24, they think they saw him from the show. She is not on social media, but she saw the last time you filmed us on YouTube. So it had reached to get somebody who doesn't follow social media and just happened to see Dane on, and she was so sure.
Thank you, Paula.
That her and the mom was so sure that it was him. So it was in Empire right next to Modesto in 2024.
I don't know if that's credible, though. I mean, I hope it is. I hope he's walking around somewhere. But I don't know how credible that is just to take, you know, some witnesses. Okay, good. Thank you, Heather. Paula's awesome, and so isn't Heather. I don't know how credible those witnesses are. I just don't.
So the finding missing people on social media, it's really working, and I got thousands more followers from that TikTok.
I mean, I don't know how many people have claimed to have seen Mara Murray, right? Like, the people have claimed to have seen Mara Murray in Canada, Mexico, I think Australia. I mean, how many of those are real? You know, how many of those are fake? I mean, I just don't. I mean, some of these people.
TikTok, it wasn't, you know, the TikTok comments weren't what we hoped for, but people came into my TikTok kindness mom that has 110,000, and they just started following and said, I am here because of that TikTok, because of the look, the resemblance of Luigi, because it became a trend to make videos about Dane resembling Luigi. So we got thousands more followers. So every single day, more people are joining the Facebook groups searching for Dane Elkins. And now we're at 31,800 people, almost at 9 eyes. And every day I get sightings. They are the ones saying, no, that's not him, or that's John. You know, they help. I post all the sightings there if anybody would like to help in the search. Yeah.
You're so awesome, Heather. Sebastian Rogers. Yeah. He looks more like Brian Koberger. So I said, yeah. I mean, he looks. I mean, it's tough to tell people from just video and photographs, but it looks like he kind of has that same demeanor. Maybe he has some sort of I don't know, a mental illness too here.
Yeah, I think that is, you're right. It's
I'd
the silver lining to the resemblance. Go ahead, Cody.
I'd also like to say I'm majoring in psychology, so I could help someone like my brother, and I really would like there to be more missing documentaries about these people, because these families, they never get closure. It's a never-ending grief. It's not like someone dies, you can move on, you can grieve it. You have that hope, and then there's also, well, what if he never comes back? And so we really just want to document that these families, they all have is hope to lead on to, but also they have to live their lives, and that's a really hard challenge to deal with and go back and forth between.
Yeah, and social media is such a powerful tool. Cody, what do you have coming up?
I mean, you hear about it all the time. Unfortunately, you have these people who are very successful, like this guy here. He's a 23-time world racquetball champion, seemingly having the best life of anybody could ask for, but yet sometimes these people here just don't want to live that lifestyle anymore. They just want to do their own thing. So maybe he's just rebelling against that. Who knows? But these witnesses were selling cell phones, and he may have purchased a cell phone from one of them. So I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like a credible. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, it's possible that it's credible, but who knows? I mean, I'm not buying it.
That Dane would, your brother would love to know about, or love to be there for you. What are some things on the horizon for you?
So I'm going off to college soon. I got into Ohio State, and so I sent him off to college. I remember the day specifically. I was so sad that I was not going to see him all the time, and I knew I would call him whenever, but it wouldn't be the same. And so to not have him there to send me off to college, my sister's going off to college. I'm injured right now, but there's some pro racquetball tournaments coming up that I'd love for him to attend. All those things, and just let's say I succeed in college, when I become a therapist and I'm helping people, not having him there for all those things. It's difficult.
You want him home. Deborah, this latest sighting, it sounds legitimate. I hope that it was. Can you tell me about his appearance, what he was wearing, what he looked like?
That was a while ago. I don't remember the details, but it's all up on Searching for Dane Elkins.
Okay.
What I do want to thank you for, Marnie, is one of the biggest opportunities. We have never done TV before, and there was a limited amount of spots on this missing person show by America's Most Wanted. And a producer reached out to me, David Scott, and I asked him, how did I get chosen? And he said, I was handed to him. And I had this opportunity. I was competing against many there's 200,000 missing people. And we have a spot in that show coming up on Monday. And
that Fox, 8 p.m. and the next day on Hulu.
So because of everything News Nation has done for us, he's very easy to find with all the stories that this has led to another miracle opportunity to have millions of eyes. So I just want to thank you, Marnie, because I was handed to this wonderful producer that made a wonderful
thank you so much, Marnie, for all your help. We really do.
You guys have my promise. We are going to continue until Dane comes home.
So he's 21 years old when you went missing. Today he'd be 26. Caucasian white, of course, brown hair, green eyes, 5'11". He's a big guy, 5'11", 170 pounds. He was last seen wearing a blue jacket. Elkins may be disoriented or confused. He suffers from mental health issues and is likely nervous to be around. So he does. and nervous to be around people. Hold on a second. He suffers from mental health issues and is likely to be nervous about people following him. Maybe that's why they're saying don't follow him or don't approach him.
And he is at your next graduation, Cody, and at every fun family
Thank you.
birthday and holiday. So anytime there's an update, I want to hear about it, and I want to pass it along to as many people as we can. And any national program you guys can get on to share Dane's story, I encourage you to do so. Real quickly before I let you go, information should go to you still, Deborah, for anybody who sees Dane. Do you want to give out that information?
Yeah, so if anybody thinks they've interacted with Dane, I need details.
Yeah, this is awful. Yeah, whoever said that up at the top is right. Maybe right. Schizophrenia, maybe. I don't know if Dee Dee's in here in the chat still. Maybe she can chime in to see what's going on. But it sounds like he definitely has some sort of a, broad overall mental health thing. So he was last seen April 16th, 2022 in Santa Cruz, California. This is the number to call here. It's 562-504-6005.
Because Dane there's so many lookalikes, and you could text all the details to that phone number on the screen, 562-504.
He is here. So you agree with the schizophrenia thing, probably? Because 30 Diane is really good at that stuff. I don't know. Like I said, I'm about 50-50 on this here. Whether I'm hoping he's alive for sure, but I don't know.
Or 6005. And if there's any way Dane approaches you, to not say, "Are you Dane?" Just, you can ask him his name, ask him his story, be kind, and try to get a discreet photo, because there's.
He said he was paranoid. Portland, there's tons of homeless and drugs. Yes. He already said he was paranoid. I wonder if he. Do you think the S word, maybe? Do you think that's possible, like the S word here for this guy? I mean, I hope not, but
We're getting so many sightings, but there's so many lookalikes out there. So we need the details, we need the photos, and we thank you. You can be the one. It just takes one person. So we thank you, Cody.
And also, there's going to be America's Most Wanted tip line too. You can call that. They have instructions on how to deal with Dane specifically.
All right, the Kindness Mom on TikTok, Deborah and Cody. I hope that the next time we talk, Dane is by your side, and you guys are welcome.
Fur baby daddy's in here. Was there a big life stressful trigger? If there is, they're not saying anything. All the parents are saying, I mean, all of the, they must know the mental health issues from the family, I would think. Elka's maybe disoriented and confused. Disoriented and confused. So I wonder if he had any medications that he was supposed to be taking, or they're not really saying anything on this. All I know here is it says, if you see Dane Elkins anywhere, please do not make contact. So that's telling me that they don't want anybody to approach this guy. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he's on medication or anything. I don't know.
Welcoming him home. Thank you again, you guys, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you. We hope there's a happy ending.
Thank you.
Yep, I hope so too. All right, guys, take care. Again, the information.
He's around the age schizophrenia kicks in, right? So he'd be 26. He's also around the age when SKers start. Fur Baby Daddy's here. Good to see him. Fur Baby Daddy here. Don't you think they would be saying he's got schizophrenia though? Unless he's never been diagnosed. Who knows?
On your screen, if you have any information that can help Deborah and Cody and their entire family bring Dane home, you can contact the number on your screen. And as promised, we will stay on this case. Police in Lancaster County, Nebraska have ruled the death of...
Okay, so I do want to go to this. I'll come back to this, I think. Hold on a second. I want to play this for Miranda. Hold on a second here. She wanted me to play this Christopher Schur case. So let's go there for this here. I feel like the news channel made the Luigi. Yeah, I think so too. Definitely think that they're trying to put something in there that's not there. Christopher Schur on trial. So this is the one I believe that Miranda wanted me to look into. This is Christopher Schur on trial. Defense calls ex-officer to the stand in his unaliving trial. So here's this. This is probably going to have a commercial here. Get bad.
Well, former Grand Rapids police officer Christopher Schur takes the stand in his own defense. He's charged with second-degree murder in the 2022 shooting death of Patrick Lyoya.
This is the first time we've heard from Schur. He says it was time to share what happened during that deadly confrontation. Fox 2's Brandon Hudson has today's testimony.
I only had essentially a viewpoint of his upper back and head area. I deployed my handgun and fired it in that direction. It ended up hitting and striking his head.
That's Christopher Schur's response to a jury asking him why he shot African immigrant Patrick Lyoya in the back of the head during their April 2022 confrontation. The former Grand Rapids police officer, who is charged with second-degree murder, described how a traffic stop over a mismatched license plate escalated to Lyoya losing his life. Schur says Lyoya, who said he understood English, resisted several commands and later grabbed Schur's taser. Listen to what he says happened next.
And what had you been trained to presume if a subject fought for a weapon from you?
So this is the Wikipedia. I'm just going to read this. On April 4th, 2022, Patrick Lyoya, a 26-year-old resident of Grand Rapids, Michigan, the United States, was fatally unalived by Officer Christopher Schur of the Grand Rapids Police Department during a scuffle between the two. After Lyoya began to flee the scene, Schur attempted to detain him and unsuccessfully fired a taser. Lloyd attempted to disarm Officer Schur of the weapon, and he was successful doing that. Schur then discharged one round from his firearm into the back of Lyoya's head.
That they would use it on us.
So how are you feeling about this situation now?
Extremely stressed.
And had you ever had that feeling before on the job?
No, at this point, I'm afraid that he's going to get the taser from me and use it on me.
Under your training, Chris.
It's good to see all the new people in here. Always good to see that. Hope you're enjoying the channel. Back of his head, yeah.
Are you required to wait to be seriously injured or killed before you can resort to deadly force?
No.
So what did you do next?
I shot him.
Yeah, it looks a little like Tom Webster.
Why?
I believe that if I hadn't done it at that time, I wasn't going to go home.
Schur said after the shot, he was physically exhausted.
Let's take a look at that.
Later, Kent County prosecutor Chris Becker tried to point out inconsistencies between Schur's written report from 2022 and his testimony Friday.
But even the taser's not going to kill you, right?
My impression is that it can cause death or serious bodily injury.
You were tased, right?
Yes.
You're still here talking to us.
Yes.
You watch people in the recruit class get tased. They all survived.
Thank you so much for Baby Daddy. I appreciate that. Wam Tebster, yep. Seems like an execution, yeah. Where the hell am I? Right here. Okay, hold on a second.
Schur also mentioned what you saw unfold in the videos wasn't a fair assessment of what happened in real time. Testimony will continue when the trial picks back up on Monday morning. Brandon Hudson, Fox 2 News.
Monday morning. Does that mean this next Monday? Hold on. Let me go back. Can I go back, you think? No. No. All right. So I will keep an eye on that too. Thank you, Miranda. Miranda wanted me to look into that reminds me of Chad Dorman, who took the life. I remember him. Yeah. Yeah. He's spending the rest of his life in jail. That guy, Chad Dorman. All right. Let me, I do want to play this here. This is the new details in the Idaho student murders. So I want to play this here. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, that guy, Chad Dorman, was just, but the good thing about that case is there was no trial. All right, so on a gripping episode of Drop Dead Serious, sits down with Steve. This is the interview with Steve. I always get this name wrong. One of the victim's fathers, Kaylee, that name, for a raw and heartwarming interview together. I think there was new. They played that new 911 call again.
Back to Drop Dead Serious. I'm Ashley Banfield, and I've got a bonus episode for you today. It's very special. A lot of breaking news that I've just discovered about the Idaho student murders.
Is she on Law and Crime Network now? I thought she was on News Nation. Did she leave News Nation? Is that the deal?
We've kind of been living under a rock, honestly, for 2.5 years because of the gag order. This one's been pretty broad, and much of what happened in Idaho is unknown to us. But slowly, these documents are dropping, and we're.
I didn't know she was Canadian. Is she really Canadian?
Learning really kind of alarming details about what happened at 1122 King Road. And I've just had a very long interview with Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee Gonzalez's dad.
Gonzalez, yeah. It's actually Goncalves, right? Is that Gonzalez? I don't know. Yeah, this is strange. This whole thing, this is another one of those strange cases here. Anytime they try to, in my opinion, just let the information out. I'm not a big fan of gag orders. I just don't like them, especially these days here with social media and all of these different types of news outlets that are covering these things. Just let the information out. It's not gonna be a problem. It's just not. Anytime they start gag ordering things and hiding evidence and just not being, it's just I know about the case. I know the case is going to be contentious and all of that stuff, but just the information, that's what makes people go crazy. Just let the information out there.
And he has told me some things I never heard before. For instance, he's just told me that his daughter was beaten very badly by this killer, struck in the head, in the face multiple times. Her nose was broken. And the blows were so severe that Steve says that his daughter could easily have died from the blows to her face, let alone the knife wounds that she sustained from this knife-wielding, sadistic killer. That's something I never knew before. Documents also dropping in the case telling.
Well, all I'm saying is, how does this guy walk out of that apartment or that house with knowing that he didn't have his knife sheath? That's just bizarre to me. How is he carrying the knife? Right? Like, he either had to have multiple weapons on him. Maybe that would probably try to, justify that? Or, I mean, is he holding the knife as he's walking out of the house? Is he so wrapped up in what he did that he just doesn't really notice that? If he's carrying the knife in his hand, isn't blood dripping all over the place? I mean, it's the knife to me is just weird. And why somebody would leave the knife sheath while he's holding the knife? Did he put it in his pocket? I mean, that's a pretty big knife to put in your pocket. You would know that. You just, all I'm saying is you would know that you don't have your sheath with you, right? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand that. And the witness didn't say she saw him carrying a knife, did she? She just, it's just so weird.
Telling us that the girls, Bethany, Dylan, Maddie, and Kaylee, all got together at 2:00 in the morning upstairs in Kaylee's room. They were all having.
What's the defense lawyer's name? Ann Taylor. She's awesome. She's like the best lawyer in the world, as far as I'm concerned. She just, she's amazing. And if she can't get this guy off of this, nobody can. But I think that's what she's trying to do. She's trying to just avoid this whole firing squad thing. She's just a great lawyer.
Sort of a girl chat, and they were contemplating going out again, leaving the house and going out back to the food truck, just having another secondary night out at 2 a.m. And I just think about what could have happened if only. Maybe they would have been back before 4 a.m. when the murderer struck. Maybe not. But it's they decided ultimately not to bother. And we knew that because of a call to an Uber driver.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of hers. She's just she's amazing. Didn't he take the knife with him? How does he that's what I'm saying though. How does he take the knife with him? Right? You would know if you're holding the knife, right? I mean, the only way I could see that happening is if he had two knives, like he had a shoulder harness knife and maybe one on the side of his belt, maybe, and then he put the knife back in. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense how he's walking out of the house with the knife in his hand. Or, I mean, where's the knife?
Another detail that absolutely gobsmacked.
I don't think the witness said that she saw him carrying a knife, right? Yes, Ann Taylor is Koberger's. Oh, that's okay, Heather. Heather Brown's amazing.
On this one, all this time I have thought that the girls and the friends called 911 because they couldn't open Xana's door and they couldn't get Xana and Ethan to respond to the knocking. Xana, wake up.
The other thing they said in this case is everybody was sleeping. That's a bunch of bullshit. That didn't happen. Nobody was sleeping in that house. Who orders food and it goes to sleep 5 minutes later? It just that doesn't make any sense at all.
Ethan, wake up. As it turns out, Xana's door was open. And we know this now because of a document that's dropped where Bethany describes running, frightened, having spotted someone who looks like Brian Koberger in the house that night, running frightened down to Bethany's room in the basement. But running past the hallway where you could kind of peer in down the end of the hall, Xana's room, and saw Xana lying on the floor with her feet towards the door, head towards the wall. And she thought she was just drunk and passed out. But she ran past Xana dead. Now she's quite a ways away. It's hard for me to guess the feet, but maybe 20, 30 feet down the hall and through the open door. And that also Bethany saw Xana lying in that position. And they did not obviously think of the horrors that were really, had transpired in that room. They thought that she was just passed out drunk. But it is incredible to now know that Xana.
How is that possible? I don't understand that. I just don't. Yeah, I don't understand how that happens, right? How do you just know something's not right here in this case? This is just really weird. How do you not notice blood all over the place? I mean, come on now. Passed out drunk, really? I don't know. There's something really weird about this whole thing. And that's the problem with this. I'm trying to find, hold on a second. I want to find, I don't want to do the, hold on a second. Let me try to pull something else up here. Did we do the 911? Should we do the 911 call? Hold on a second. This is a month ago. I thought there was a newer one. Hold on a second. Christine Randall's awesome too. I know there's a newer one, but I don't know. Hold on a second. I'll find it eventually. Right here. Let's play this one here because I think they actually play. I just can't stand this guy. I can't stand. Hold on a second. Let me jump out of this one here and then. Because I think they play this here. I just can't stand Chris McDummy. I just. Ugh.
I'm Vinnie Politan. The subject of my investigation, the tragic deaths and murders of 4 University of Idaho students. When it happened, it was the biggest true crime mystery in the nation. And this summer, it will be the biggest criminal trial of the year. Here's the story. In the stillness of a cold November night, a quiet college town was shattered by a horror it had never known. 4 promising University of Idaho students, Ethan, Xana, Madison, and Kaylee, were found brutally murdered inside their off-campus home. The scene was a nightmare, beds soaked in blood, silence pierced only by unanswered questions. There were no screams reported, no cries for help heard, just the grim discovery that would haunt a community and captivate the nation. They were vibrant, full of life, with futures unfolding before them. Then in the darkness, someone crept through their sanctuary with cold precision and devastating violence. The attack was swift, methodical, almost unreal. The weapon, a fixed blade knife. The motive, still a mystery. As investigators scrambled, the case drew speculation, suspicion, and fear. A white car, a cell signal, DNA on a knife sheath left behind.
Just to let you know, there's always going to be a white car. There just is. Every time there's going to be some sort of a unaliving like this, or somebody's always going to see a white car. In fact, I think there was a white car early in the beginning in the Delphi case too. A white sedan, I think somebody was moving stuff into or fooling around with a trunk with a white car. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Chris McDonough.
The picture grew clearer, but the wound left on Moscow, Idaho remains deep and justice still uncertain.
Yeah, I mean, who walks around with a knife like that? I'm just saying.
This is going to be.
I mean, that's a big knife. You don't just put that knife in a pocket or, slide it down your pants. You either have to hold that knife or maybe put it in a jacket pocket or something like that. I mean, it's he would have known he was holding the knife, is what I'm saying.
A huge trial, but it's going to be a trial where every piece of evidence will be challenged. Prosecutors have the burden in this case, like they do in every case, to prove it beyond any and all reasonable doubt. Now, since the crime happened, we've learned some information, but there's a whole lot that we don't know. But bits and pieces are being released through court documents. And during the course of this program, you're going to hear some of that new information.
Is Dino leaving? Dino's taking off? If Dino's taking off, good night, buddy. I'll see you next week. See you around anyways. Dino's awesome. His phone's probably dying. And his woman taking off too? Dino's awesome. He's here all the time. He was one of my first subscribers for sure. Let me all right, let's go back to this here.
I want to begin, though, with something that we have heard before, but tonight we're going to have new context associated with it. So let's take a listen to the 911 call.
I mean, I think at some point they were trying to kind of relate this one here to the Ted Bundy case in Florida, where he just went nuts and started unaliving people at the college. Remember that? But he was using everything to unalive people. He was just out of his mind. This guy here was, whoever did this was pretty methodical.
All that was made the morning after these brutal murders.
911 location of your emergency.
First thing I will say about 911 calls and 911 operators, not all of them are created equal, right? This 911 operator is the most insensitive freaking person I think I've ever heard in my entire life. And maybe I'm just wrong about how 911 call operators should be, but this 911 operator is just awful, in my opinion.
Something is happening. Something's happening in our house. We don't know what. What is the address of the emergency?
4%.
1122.
It's at 4%. That's not good, buddy. Have a good week, man. You too, buddy.
What is the rest of the address? Oh, Kings Road. And tell me exactly what's going on. One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night and she not wake me up. Okay. Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night. Can I just tell you what happened pretty much? What is going on currently? Is someone passed out right now? I don't really know, but pretty much at 4 a.m. Okay, I need to know what's going on right now if someone is passed out. Can you find that out?
I'm telling you, this dispatcher is she bothers me a lot.
Yeah, I'll come. Come on, but we gotta go check. But we have to. What's wrong? She's not waking up. Okay, and how old is she? She's 20. 20, you said? Yes, 20. Here's one okay. To them. Hello? Hello? Okay, I need someone to stop passing the phone around because I've talked to 4 different people.
Okay, sorry, they just gave me the phone.
Is she breathing?
Hello?
Is she breathing?
No.
Again, difficult to listen to, knowing what we know about what happened inside that house. But we've got to learn more about what was happening in that house, because it's going to be part of the case, part of the trial, part of the evidence. And that brings us to the first question in our investigation. What was happening inside that house just before the 911 call, right? Because the 911 call is somewhat chaotic. The phone is being passed around. There's a lot of confusion. So what was happening inside that house just before the 911 call was happening? Here with us to help go through this new information, former homicide investigator, host of the Interview Room with Chris McDonough. It is Chris McDonough, and psychotherapist, author of Till Death Do Us Part, Love, Marriage, and the Mind of the Killer's Spouse, and host of the Talking Live and Bite Size podcast, Dr. Robbie Ludwig. Thank you both for being here. I want to put this up because we've got some new information, and I want to go through this information and then get your perspectives on it and a little more analysis and meaning from it. So here we go. At approximately 11:50 a.m., DM, who is Dylan, called her friend and asked her to come over and check the house because she was scared. This is, remember, 11:50 a.m. So EA and her boyfriend, HJ, came over. Now, they met DM and BF, Dylan and Bethany, the two surviving roommates, at the bottom floor of the house. Okay, you know the house has 3 levels. The bottom floor is where Bethany's bedroom is, and that's where Dylan and Bethany were. Together, Dylan, Bethany, and HJ started to walk up the stairs from that bottom first floor up to the second floor. When they reached the second floor, HJ went to the kitchen to saw Xana again for a split second. And this is a quote that they're quoting from a statement. And I just started bawling because I thought she had just like, I don't even know. I thought maybe she was still just drunk and all asleep on the floor.
Came back out, DM saw Xana again for a split second, and I just started bawling because I thought she had just like, I don't even know. I thought maybe she was still just drunk and all asleep on the floor. Also saw Xana lying on the floor, told DM and boyfriend to get out. I think they were trying to frame this other guy that went in and looked.
Bethany also saw Xana lying on the floor.
Because you know that the law enforcement is going to talk to the last person that saw them. And this other guy who went in there to check, who was on the phone with the 911 caller, I guarantee you he got laid into by police too.
That moment, HJ told Dylan and Bethany to get out. EA, who's his girlfriend, who had started up the stairs, also turned around after HJ instructed her not to come any further. They both went outside. Shortly afterwards, so HJ is now in the house by himself, exited the house and told them to call.
It's JP Hansen. Good to see you, buddy. Always good to see you here, man. They said her hands were mangled. Right, FBD. This ain't the 911 call. This is BS. It's just weird. You started up the stairs, also turned around after HJ instructed her not to come any further. They both went outside shortly afterwards. HJ exited the house and told them to call 911. Who's HJ? Was that the guy that was on the 911 call? And he was pale and white and mentioned something about someone being unconscious.
Call 911. HJ was pale white and mentioned something about someone being unconscious. Let me start with you, Chris McDonough. The picture I'm getting here, Dylan had called her friend because she was scared. I think she knew something really bad had happened in that house, but she didn't want to acknowledge it. And now for the first time, it seems like someone is finding Xana, who is dead.
Yeah, Vinny, I mean, there's a lot going on here, and investigators are trained in what is called critical faculty. What that means essentially is the subconscious mind starts weighing information against, their belief system, their thoughts, their experiences, And it's trying to figure out whether or not there's is this real? Is this fake? And, Dr. Robbie can go into this a lot deeper than I ever could, but what's happening here is these kids are trying to figure out what is going on here. And so are their brains, quite frankly.
So, Dr. Robbie, your thoughts about the mindset and the reactions to all of this? Because
Yeah.
Dylan is scared, but she doesn't call 911. It's HJ, who I guess is the one who goes in the room and actually examines Xana to some extent, is the one saying, call 911.
Yeah. So
Then why would he say she's unconscious? Why wouldn't he just say, oh my God, they've just been murdered and dead, right? That doesn't make any sense to me.
we know a lot more now about what happened during the crime scene than those girls at the time of the crime. And it sounds like they did not feel safe. They didn't know if the killer or somebody who shouldn't have been there was still in the house. And so they were in a state of panic, and I would even say denial. If something's not within your frame of reference and you've never experienced it before, you don't necessarily assume that someone's been murdered and stabbed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care for him much.
You want to assume that they were drunk and unconscious. You may be nervous that something extreme.
I also think it's strange how they took this house down. And nobody I don't think the defense argued it, and I don't think the prosecution argued it.
Happen, but I think these girls were panicked for good reason. They did not feel safe, or I think it was a girl and boy as well. And so the next day they had more time to kind of sit with the reality that wasn't changing for them. And the person who ultimately advised the girls to call 911 was someone who had not experienced that same trauma and fear the night before. So it's just a horrific situation. And on top of that, these girls now are being judged, which is awful. They really should not be.
Should not be. Chris, something else that really struck me here, and now I'm looking at trying to understand the crime. Ethan is also murdered, but no one is seeing him. Like they see Xana.
They're trying to tell me that these people were all sleeping at the time. That's bullshit. That's absolutely bullshit. I don't buy that. I don't believe that. I don't understand how that's possible. I just don't.
Her feet and then her head is pointing away from them, but she's on the ground. I guess he goes closer to examine, yet no one is seeing Ethan at that moment. What are your thoughts about why they're not seeing Ethan, where he could potentially be, and exactly what happened in that room?
Yeah, the Karen Reed case is just bizarre. I don't understand why they decided to re-prosecute this case. The Karen Reed case is just it's horrible.
Where it seems now the door is open and has been opened, has been left open the whole time regarding Xana's murder and Ethan's murder.
Yeah, Vinny, I think it's really interesting that, when all the girls are together, when about 2:00 in the morning, and then obviously later on this horrific event unfolds.
The thing is that they have this has got to change in today's society, where they have a PCA, press conference where they arrest somebody and have a probable cause affidavit, all this stuff. Press conference, and they get the word out, and then all of a sudden they decide they want to put a gag order on things once the defense gets involved. I think that's horrible, because unfortunately these days with social media, this is just me going on a soapbox thing here, and this happened in a lot of cases that I've seen. It already formulates an opinion, a public opinion, right? And it's already the one side. It's already lopsided, right? Because once they arrest a suspect and once they get a suspect in custody, the majority of people out there are going to just go with the flow. Yep, he's guilty. The person's guilty. The suspect's guilty. So I think that needs to be changed. I think that, you know, if the prosecution is going to be able to release that information about the probable cause stuff and why they arrested somebody and why this person's in prison or jail, then they should have a rebuttal immediately right after that from some sort of a defense attorney, because it's just not fair. The whole area, that, believe me, I grew up in Massachusetts. I know how I freaking know how. Oh my God, I know how corrupt it is in Massachusetts. It's just a nightmare. The reason why, well, not the only reason why, but one of the reasons why I've been following a little bit of the Karen Reed case is because of the Sandra Birchmore case, which they literally tried to sweep that case under the rug because it was a cop that did it, right? Or 2 or 3 cops that did it. But, you know, once the Karen Reed case started, that's when people were able to, you know, picket with the signs out front of the town hall, the courthouse and stuff like that. So they kind of had to, you know, they had to kind of address that because, you know, that poor kid just got completely groomed and completely just, you know, it's not funny, but it's just, you know, so there's definitely corruption down there for sure. There's just no doubt.
You know, Ethan is just kind of there as kind of the protector. And so he's kind of tucked away in the back there. And it's interesting that the witness says, you know, I see Xana. And she even mentioned
they literally tried to cover that up. They literally, and I how much you want to bet nothing happens to him? I guarantee you that guy gets away scot-free, that cop, all 3 of them.
In some of the text messages, if I remember right, that she even recognizes the color of her clothing. Okay? And so I think Ethan becomes.
They're all a waste of humanity. All those people should be. I just have. I have no use for those people whatsoever.
Almost an afterthought initially because of the trauma that's taking place here that these kids are witnessing. And it's not uncommon for witnesses, as you know, more than anybody, to kind of get this tunnel vision. And Ethan's kind of left out for a brief moment.
All right, our guests are staying with us. Coming up next.
Yeah, the guy, Chris McDummy. I'm going to keep calling him that too. I'm not a big fan of Gray Hughes, but he gets that one right.
Who was killed first, Maddie or Kaylee?
These were just girls that went to sleep that night, and a coward, you know, a hunter that went out and he picked his little opponent that was girls.
And none of them are right. You know, none of them are. I've yet to see a retired detective or anybody get any case right. So you can't go with them either.
Is Karen Reed a killer girlfriend?
She's guilty.
Or the scapegoat?
Oh, we'll watch a little bit more of this.
Idaho student.
We'll watch a little bit more of this, and then I want to move on to some other shit. Already been here 2 hours. Yeah, whatever you do, don't call Gray Gary. He doesn't like that. Fuck him, right? All right, so let's go back to this.
Students. Steve Gonzalez is the father of Kaylee, and he has been.
Who's that creator that does a parody on him? Is that Bad Actors, Bad something? YouTube bad actors or something like that. That's fucking hilarious. That's the name of the channel. I forget. They do. It's so funny. Is it YouTube Bad Actors or YouTube something? I mean, that's an awesome channel.
Very outspoken from the beginning, and very vocal about this and very public about this, and has really been the face for the victims and for the families, talking about this. And he spoke about the death of his daughter and her very best friend.
So then they went to high school together. Then they started looking.
There was a time in Massachusetts that a good YouTube Bad Actors, that's it, yeah. In Massachusetts, that a good 5% of the actual police force in Massachusetts were actually working for the mob.
Looking at colleges. They came here together. They eventually get into the same apartment together. And in the end, they died together in the same room, in the same bed.
And it was Maddie and Kaylee who were on that third floor and were killed there. So both of them were there, both were murdered. That's where the most important piece of evidence was also found, which was the knife sheath. But this brings us to the next question in our investigation, and it's about these two victims who were together murdered. Who was killed first? Was it Maddie or was it Kaylee? Can we even tell? Still with us, Chris McDonough and Dr. Robbie Ludwig. What I'd like to do, because I thought this was pretty important when I saw it and heard it. So Steve Gonzalez on Ashley Banfield's YouTube channel, Drop Dead Serious, spoke about what happened to his daughter and to Maddie and what he learned.
They went for Maddie first, and then Kaylee. Kaylee woke up. Kaylee showed signs of fighting, and or a fight. I don't know really what somebody waking up with somebody stabbing you, how much fighting you can really do. But then this monster struck her multiple times.
This is important information. Chris McDonough, when you talk about what that scene was like, it seems clear that investigators are able to figure out who died first and who had. And when they talked about the defensive wounds, it seems like it's coming from Kaylee, because she wakes up, she is fighting, and then the killer strikes her as well.
Yeah, Vinny, and you can recreate the sequence based on obviously the cast off from the knife, unfortunately, and the positioning of the bodies, as well as what you're talking about, the defensive wounds there. But let's not also forget that there's somebody else who is still alive at that time, and that is Xana. And so the dad here, God bless him, is talking about these two young ladies up there. And, if this is a sexual fantasy homicide, this guy had his targets and he was not going to let go. And the brutality shows.
Dr. Robbie Ludwig, I can't imagine the terror for Kaylee. She's with her best friend. She's in a place where she feels safe with her friends, in their home, in bed. She's asleep, and her best friend in the world has just been murdered. It wakes her up, and suddenly she is fighting for her life.
It's unimaginable, right? It's just so hard to imagine. But at some point, she probably knew that she was going to die at some point. And this Brian and this sexual homicide fantasy, that is exactly right. Brian was not able to get the women that he wanted. And so for him, this
is so weird. This is so bizarre. Sorry, I'm looking for something that I wanted to cover. Turtle Boy is a bad actor. Yeah. Both of them. both mobs, the Irish and the Italians. See, this is what I don't like. How is she allowed to say this on air in front of a massive media platform? Like, listen to what she says here, and she has no actual evidence of any of this, right? Like, and she's just allowed to say this. Hold on a second.
This guy had his targets, and he was not going to let go, and the brutality shows.
Dr. Robbie Ludwig, I can't imagine the terror for Kaylee. She's with her best friend.
Listen to what she says here. I'm actually going to, well, I won't do that. She has no idea at all.
She's in a place where she feels safe with her friends in their home.
I mean, whether you think this guy did this or not, she has no idea. She has no, I mean, she just doesn't have any clue, really.
In bed, she's asleep, and her best friend in the world.
They weren't sleeping. They just weren't sleeping.
World has just been murdered. It wakes her up, and suddenly she is fighting for her life.
It's unimaginable, right? It's just so hard to imagine. But at some point, she probably knew that she was going to die at some point. And this Brian and this sexual homicide fantasy, that is exactly
this Brian. No, nothing like this suspect.
right. You know, Brian was not able to get the women that he wanted. And so
How the fuck does she know that? Right? Like, how? It's just she's allowed to say this on. I don't understand it.
for him, this sexual violence in a bed with these chosen girls and the nightmare and death was for him as.
If I was Vinny, I would have just stepped in there and said, "Wait a minute, you mean the suspect?" Or, I mean, this is why people go nuts, right? This is why people just go crazy about this one-sided media thing here. It's just, even if you think he's guilty, how do you know this happened? I don't think there's any evidence to back this up. I just don't. I don't know where she's coming from with saying this. I'm going to replay it because it's just bizarre. Oh.
Point, she probably knew that she was going to die.
Well, of course she knew that, right? That's obvious. I mean, Captain Obvious knew that too. And I'm not trying to stick up for this guy. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying these people can come on a live TV like this and spew these just ridiculous theories on national media platforms. And she's a psychotherapist. Who gives a shit?
At some point. And this Brian and this sexual homicide fantasy.
Even mentions his name, this Brian. Like,
that is exactly right. You know, Brian was not able to get the women that he wanted. And so for him.
How does she know that? How? I don't understand. I don't understand how she can do that. Like, I'm sorry. It's just rubbish. It's just, I mean, I don't see any evidence. Where's her evidence? Where is the evidence to back up her claim? I don't get it.
Him, this sexual violence in a bed with these chosen girls and the nightmare and death was for him as close to sex or better than sex than he could get. So it sounds like he was in for the kill and he wanted to induce fear. And he certainly did that on the way to these girls' deaths. And it's just so hard to think about. And it's amazing this father is continuing to share a story that.
No, the father's grieving because his daughter's dead. Okay. Like, That's never going to change, right? I mean, I feel bad for him for the fact that he's never ever going to be able to see his daughter again. So don't bring him into this. You're just spewing wild, wacky, freaking unexplainable, without any evidence, motives for this crime. And I could probably find a lot of evidence to dispute you on this stuff here, especially when it comes to, crimes like this. How the fuck does she know? She doesn't know anything.
That I'm sure is just painful. It's really like living a nightmare.
Chris, do you have a working theory on why the killer went upstairs first to that third floor? Because
I don't think the killer went up to the first floor first. I just don't. I think whoever did this unalived the two who were awake, awaiting the food first, then went upstairs. And I mean, that's my opinion.
enter on that floor. You have to go up either 2 flights of stairs.
She's just, I don't know what's going on with her.
Or 1 flight of stairs. I believe it was 1 because I think he came in on the 2nd level. Do you believe there was a reason why he went up there first? Did he know? Do we think he knew there were 2 young women up there? What are your thoughts?
Vinny, I've thought about that extensively. And what a working theory I've had in my head is that
Yeah, I agree, Shibby. I'd be trying to, the thing about families, they don't get told everything. The police aren't going to tell them anything either. So, I mean, they're just as much on the fence as everybody else, but he's just trying to, I'm pretty sure families are just trying to make some sort of fucking sense out of all of this shit. But for her to drag him into this by spewing that, I don't know what she was, I don't know what the evidence, if there's evidence for that, that's fine. But there's no evidence at all about that. There's none of it.
house was a target, but specifically Madison, because he's seen around that house 23 separate times based on the digital footprint. And for somebody to spend that much time, he knew how many girls were in that house. So I've often contemplated, is he imitating somebody?
Who's the guy in the poo? Was that Gopher? Or was that the Gopher? The one with the whistle? Was that what the hell? There was Pooh, Tigger, Piglet. Was it Gopher? Rabbit? No, there was Rabbit, but then there was Owl. But wasn't there a whistling gopher or something like that that had a speech impediment? There's a whole bunch of lies in here. None of this stuff is actually I don't even know why, it's just, I can't believe this shit, right? It's just, usually Vinny doesn't put up with this shit.
We won't know that.
Usually he'll have like somebody on the other side of the fence on this whole thing. I thought there was I'll have to look that. I'm pretty sure Gopher was the one that had, I don't know if it was a gopher, badger, but one of those animals, one of those critters that had a lisp, or like that's who this guy sounds like.
Till the trial, but he specifically knew where he was going to start and where he was going to end. And
thank you, woman. I know we don't agree on everything, but I just hate when they lie, when they just outright. I don't even know if it's a lie. It's just she has no the woman that's commenting here. She's just a psychotherapist. She's not even involved in this. I don't even think she's involved in this case. And if she is, she shouldn't be talking about it. These are just opinions. I get that, but to base an opinion off of a suspect that's innocent until proven guilty, right? And then just to name him, and then name this weird, wild fantasy that she's got in her head about what happened as a motive, it just doesn't make any sense.
And I think Ethan was in the way, and I also believe the other two girls who survived were potentially, could have been victims themselves that evening.
And when I think about Kaylee,
I don't think there's any evidence that this guy knew them. There was any, like, I don't know if there's any evidence that he knew them at all. I just don't.
understanding is I believe she was the one who had graduated early, had a job set up.
She wasn't even living there, I don't think.
Had just bought her own car like herself and was sort of visiting that weekend and had finished school. So I'm wondering if he even expected her to be there.
Good point.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's almost as if she's in the way. And does that explain behaviorally?
Isn't this the guy that found a glove? I mean, I've been following this Idaho case, but I haven't been honestly following it lately, so I haven't been up to date on what's going on. But I'm pretty sure it was either Chris McDummy or one of the other guys that found a glove outside.
Why she was beaten, as the dad has explained here, almost as a revenge of, you're not supposed to be here. You're ruining my fantasy.
And that fighting back may have been the reason that the knife sheath gets jarred loose and ends up underneath one of the victims.
Or do we know that Xana's not moving around the house? We don't know that, but she certainly is awake. She's on social media at 4:12 in the morning. He could have been upstairs already doing his thing. I've wondered about that through this whole thing.
And Dr. Rob, we only have about 15 seconds left here, but your thoughts about Steve Gonsalves when it comes time for this trial. Will it be therapeutic at all for him, or will it be detrimental to hear every single detail?
I can't imagine it not being painful. I'm sure he feels it's his duty as a father and something he needs to do. And if at the end of the day, Brian is found guilty, then justice will be served. I hope that justice is served for all of these victims and their families.
Dr. Robbie Ludwig, Chris McDonough, appreciate your time and your insight.
Well, she's convinced. I can guarantee you that much right now. She's definitely. I just don't understand how that's even possible these days. I just think it's one-sided. It's. All right, what am I doing here? It's just. It's almost like they're tainting the jury. The whole process of it. All right, what am I doing? I'm going to do this here. Did I do that last week? I did the prison thing last week, right? Let's do, what's this here? Why isn't this doing that? I do want to do a couple more things here. Let's do this here since we haven't done this. I don't think we did this yet. So everybody's panicking around here that there's a. Hold on a second. Everybody's bought this SKR in New England where there probably isn't one, but there are enough bodies stacking up around here to kind of get people in an uproar. So let's watch a little bit of this. I think we might have done a little bit on this last week, but here's this here. I'm going to try to get down there to some of these locations later next week. While agencies across several states have tried to assure the public that unaliving investigations underway in multiple jurisdictions are not the work of an SKR, all of the online sleuths here aren't so sure, except for me and a couple other people. But I mean, it's a lot of bodies in a short period of time. But here we go. People don't realize how, I don't know, it's so rare. Serial killers are so rare. It's like, and all of a sudden, people just because there's a lot of bodies, all of a sudden there's an SK, but who knows? I mean, I don't know. So, but anyways, let's play this here. Whoops.
Jesse Weber. Right now, at least.
Put it this way. I'm probably the only person on the planet that thinks OJ still didn't do it.
11 people have
35 active at any point, but that's still rare, right? That's still, when you think of all of the crimes that are committed in the United States, it's still fairly rare. I think percentage wise, I think it's like minus like a very, very small a percent of 0.5% of a percent. It's not a lot.
Have been found dead in the New England area over the past several months. That's according to reporting from Boston.com, although, of course, there are questions about whether they're all connected and whether that number should be the number that it is. But there are serious questions right now about, could there be a serial killer stalking states like Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts? And these questions and these rumors and these theories are starting to ramp up. And it seems the more police departments try to debunk the serial killer theory, some online sleuths are latching onto it as the...
You know why? Because it's money, right? People see money and then they just go with it. I mean, what else is going to happen around here in New England? Not much.
Only possible explanation. Police and prosecutors in multiple jurisdictions say there's no evidence that there's any connections between any of the cases. In fact, several sets of remains have not yet been identified, and it's unclear if there was any foul play.
The one in Groton has already been, they already got one guy already in custody for that one there. 35 does seem like a lot, but when you, I mean, how many people are here in the United States? There's 77 million, 770 million people in the United States. I'll bring up some stats in a second. Let me
at all in all these deaths. Other investigations have turned up answers that point away from a serial killer. For example, police in Groton, Connecticut say they solved the murder of a...
It's technically only 46 states and 4 commonwealths.
Woman dismembered and stuffed into a suitcase. 58-year-old Suzanne Wormser's remains were found on March 19th near a cemetery. Investigators say they were able to connect the death back to a man named Donald Kofel, who'd been living with Wormser. He reportedly told police that he killed her over $200 worth of missing crack cocaine. Faces charges of murder, tampering with evidence, improper disposal of a body. But some of the most recent cases have been uncovered in just the last few days. April 22nd, a woman was found dead near a Springfield.
Well, you got me hungry now. Yep, there's 46 states that actually signed to the state constitution as states. 4 of them signed as commonwealths: Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Kentucky. I think they're all commonwealths. They're not actually states, which means that they can succeed from the union at any time. They don't need. Plus, they have what they call. I know Massachusetts has what they call blue laws.
Massachusetts bike path. Police identified her as 45-year-old Megan Meredith. While her death is being investigated as a homicide, police say they believe this is an isolated incident. A woman whose remains were found along the bank of the Connecticut River in Rocky Hill, Connecticut, April 27, identified this week as 72-year-old Mary Colasanto. She'd been reported missing back in March. Rocky Hill police told the Stamford Advocate that a boater had notified officials about the discovery when they spotted her remains near the shoreline. Now, we have done a couple of episodes on this topic, doing deep dives into what has been discovered over the last few months. You can check them all out on Law and Crime's YouTube channel. But the number of ongoing investigations And maybe lack of answers, it is pushing people toward videos and social media groups that are dedicated to a so-called New England serial killer. Some of the Facebook.
What is wrong with Raisin Bran? Especially if you dump a whole bunch of sugar in there.
Facebook discussion boards have thousands of members. And while focusing a lot of attention on these cases could lead to credible tips and leads for sure, unfortunately, we live in a day and age where it could lead up to.
What happened to Dirty Diana? Is she still in here? Multigrain Cheerios. What a blueberry, right? Cornflakes and brown sugar is good too. When you get to be my age, man, OGA nice and crispy. You guys are all awesome.
Misinformation and pranks. And things really reached a fever pitch when an anonymous post in a Facebook group, originally named New England Serial Killer, claimed that bodies were buried at Scarborough Beach in Narragansett, Rhode Island, and that sparked police efforts to search the area with cadaver dogs. The thing about that is I spoke with Sergeant Brent Kuzman of the Narragansett Police about what happened next.
Over the Easter weekend on the 19th, we were contacted by multiple people via email, phone call, Facebook on its messenger. We were advised of some ominous posts in this New England serial killer Facebook group and their sister Facebook group. They were all anonymous, and they were.
There's Dee Dee. Oh, you went to sleep. I have that way with people. I just put them to sleep all the time. Scranton Strangler. There's been a lot of talk of SKers here in New England, but none that have actually been officially, I don't think, declared by law enforcement as SKers.
Definitely eerie, almost poetic-like, and they alluded to bodies being buried at the northern part of Scarborough Beach, which is known as Black Point. There are ruins of a carriage house from the Gilded Age there, known as the Windswept Ruins. And there are alleged to be 6 bodies buried vertically facing the water, and it was definitely ominous. It was worrisome for multiple people. Dozens contacted us over the weekend. So on Monday, when our unit came in, we hit the ground running. We contacted the administrator of the Facebook post. We received screenshots of every post, some of which were deleted at the time, but she already had screenshots. And we began to kind of piece it together, read it over, and see really what we were dealing with here. As you know, anonymous Facebook posts are never really anonymous. The group admin could see the name of who posted it, and it appeared to be more of a basic account with no personal information, what some refer to as a troll account.
So here's I think I did this last week. Hold on a second. Are you okay? I'm just sleepy today, but I'm up now. I hope you're okay. Late night? Was it a late night? Where was I? Right here. Am I sharing this? Yes. Okay. So if you can see this, this is basically New England, New York there, New Jersey there, Massachusetts. This is Rhode Island. Has a little tiny state right here is Rhode Island. There's Connecticut. All of these states are pretty tiny here. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. The Groton one I'm going to disclude because I already arrested somebody for that. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 10 unalivings here. But like I said last week, Norwalk to Plymouth is so far. It's only about 3 or 4 hours from here to there. But why would you want to live somebody here and then go all the way over to Plymouth and want to live somebody else and then to Framingham? And it just doesn't make any sense. But I mean, it's possible. But I just don't think, they did have years ago, they did have what they call the New Bedford highway unalivings here on 95. And then, of course, you have Rex Hewerman that was down here in Long Island. But these are way after that, so who knows? But usually you're going to see them right along this highway line here. These are too, in my opinion, these are too far apart to be included in with one person. But you never know. You just never know. All right, what am I doing? I do want to go here to this. But that's all of the ones that the Groton one is out. They've already arrested somebody.
Or a burner account. And in the comments section of some of these posts and other people's posts, he basically told them we were, there's no crime explicitly stated. We were.
I don't think so. I don't. The victimology is way over the map, all over the map too. On these.
Being metaphorical, I'm a storyteller. He alluded to working on a novel, but the people in the group would not have known that because it was an anonymous original post. So Monday, we hit the ground running. We did a quick search of the area that day. It is a large area where there being beach, trails, and woods. So we felt it would be best to get cadaver dogs to search the area as well. So we coordinated with the Rhode Island State Police for a Wednesday search of the area. I had my 3 detectives go down with their 2 dogs. They independently searched the area one by one. They came to the conclusion that there was no indication from either of the canines of any remains in the area. But so what we basically had was maybe a half cockeyed confession, but with no bodies. So we didn't believe it was credible information, but it was definitely worrisome. And there was a lot of community concern about this. To have potentially 6 bodies buried in town would be a shocking, horrifying discovery. So it's something we wanted to get out there and kind of make sure it wasn't anything. I'd rather do something and go over the board with the search than not do enough and it be something.
So to get further insight into these kinds of investigations and maybe what's happening here, I want to bring on a very special guest. For all of you true crime fans, you will know this person very well. Former FBI profiler, true crime docuseries host of the Killer Psyche Show, Candice DeLong. Candice, so good to see you. Thanks so much for coming here on Sidebar. Appreciate it.
Oh, thanks a lot, Jesse. Happy to be here.
So I got to ask you, in your professional opinion, do you think any of these cases are connected? Do you think we have a serial killer amongst us?
Unlikely. And there's no evidence of it whatsoever. That
I will, however, say the same. They did the same thing. I think it was was it Oregon or Washington a few years ago? They said, no, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. There's no evidence to support an SKer. And then 2 years later, they came out and said, yeah, we got him. So these things do happen. I'm just saying this is very unlikely here in this, because I think the victimology is way, like, the victims are not anywhere near the same kind of demographic, and this is these are way too far apart, in my opinion, to be all associated with the same guy person. But you never know. You just don't.
may turn out to be the case. Some of them are connected, but there's no evidence now. Some of the bodies, but at least one of the bodies, was so decomposed when it was reported, they couldn't even tell not only the cause of death, whether it was a homicide, natural accident, they couldn't even tell what gender it was until they did more investigation. So I think the internet rumors are fun, but they're a little too early.
Hey, so I know you all might be true crime fans, but are you also in a business? If so, let me tell you about our sponsor, Odoo. Odoo is an incredible all-in-one business management software that provides you with a range on this particular region, these particular deaths. Why do you think we're seeing this chatter about possible connections and a possible similarity and a possible pattern and a possible killer who's responsible or killers responsible for all this? Why do you think we're seeing that?
Well, the tri-state area, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, the population, I did some math, the population over 20 years old is about 10 million people in that tri-state area. And those combined states have about 300 homicides a year. Now that includes domestic violence, homicides committed in the home, premeditated spousal murder, school shootings, everything is in that 300 a year. What we're looking at here is potentially 9 homicides, and they're really not even sure they're all homicides. I haven't figured it out, but if you take another population in a particular geographic area of 10 million people over 20 years old, and I only say over 20 because all of the victims were over 20, it might be the very same thing, or not too much, not exactly the same, but not too much different. 300 murders per 10 million people annually of people over 20 years old. That I don't know the answer to. What I do know is that's what's happening in this tri-state area. And I don't know why this has caught the attention of the internet sleuths.
Thousands of people part of these groups thinking there could be something here. I mean, let's just play devil's advocate for a second. Let's just hypothetically. Sure. Let's say what would be certain signs you would be looking for to say, you know what, wait a minute, I think there might be a serial killer afoot. What would be some characteristics? What would be some things that you would be looking at and saying, wait a minute, I think we have to take a second look. These might be connected. We might have a serial killer in our midst.
Well, there's a few things that would make me sit up straight in my chair. And that would be were the bodies all determined to be homicide, and what was the cause of death? Was it blunt force trauma? Was it stabbing? Was it shooting? That kind of thing. Also, I would perk up if the what we call a dump site, if the bodies were all disposed of in a certain geographic area, smaller, tighter area. Now, there are some serial killers that travel a lot, and they kill all along the way. Maybe they're...
Hello, Stephen Lyons. Good to see you from Ireland. Wow. I'm pretty sure most of us here have some sort of an Irish root to us. Good to see you. I was at work and was told about the shuttle. The shuttle disaster. I watched that live on TV. The McAuliffe. Is that the? How have I been doing? Me? I'm doing all right. I want to blow my truck up, but other than that, I'm fine. Hope you're okay, Miranda. I played your Christopher Sherwan thing.
Cross-country truckers or drifters. I do understand that, but for them,
I'm planning on doing more of that soon. We're doing fine. Good to see you, Stephen. Good to see you in the chat. The long haul trucker series pretty soon. I'm still trying to do some research on that and getting that, but I do want to do that for sure.
For the most part with serial killers, that is not the case. Also, if there were any kind of connection whatsoever between...
I watched that live on TV. I watched the whole thing, and they were saying that's they were trying to say that it was some sort of I forget now, some sort of a, and I'm like, that looks like an explosion to me, man. That doesn't look good. That was terrible. I was in a bar when the O.J. Simpson Ford Bronco thing was happening. That was classic.
Between the victims. For example, if all of the victims were sex workers who solicited clients in a particular part of town and street walking sex workers
How did we get onto sex workers here?
are at very high risk to be victimized by a killer or a serial killer. And that has not been determined. But if those things were determined, then I would say, okay.
They have the whole Krista McAuliffe thing here in Concord, New Hampshire. I've never been there. I know both of my daughters have been there for their field trips, but I've actually never been to the Krista McAuliffe Planetarium.
We need to look at this. And by the way, Jesse, in any serial killer case, there may be bodies that were found that have nothing to do with the serial killer, but are initially lumped into the mix.
Like Gilgo? Like Gilgo.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that raises an interesting question, because some people online have pointed out that if there's not a serial killer, it's almost worse, because putting aside the cases where you might have an accident or the manner of death might be something else, it's almost worse because people are saying, then what are we dealing with? Multiple killers out there? And that actually made me think certain of these areas where remains are found could be situations where that might just be an advantageous area to dispose of a body. Unfortunately, I mean, we've seen that happen before. So you look at people online who say, this could actually be worse because you get multiple different unrelated crimes and killers. That's a concerning aspect too, right?
Well, like I said, for that particular tight geographic area, in that tri-state, 300 homicides a year.
Yeah.
We're talking about somewhere between 9 and 11. And one of the ones that have been lumped in has already been determined was a homicide. It was the suitcase outside or inside the cemetery. And it was determined that was a domestic violence homicide. And there's been.
Yeah, that was the one in Groton, Massachusetts. So that's the one that I basically crossed off.
An arrest. So take that one out of the mix. It never belonged in it anyway.
I guess what I'm saying is if you take the amount of unalivings that happen every single day in the United States of America, and then you start categorizing them as SKers are very, very rare. They do say, though, I think you walk by at least one SKer in your lifetime.
Was only the only body found in a suitcase. Some serial killers do not repeat the same murder behavior over and over and over with as they kill.
I don't know. I'm going to have to take a look more into that, though, Miranda. It looks pretty suspicious, but the day they're ever going to really charge cops for this is never going to happen. But I think it's sad. It's awful, terrible. They still have that. Magically delicious. I'm a Celtics fan. If that makes any sense. I mean, yes, he is on trial for unaliving, and I think he's going to get away with it.
They may not stab all their victims or shoot them or tie them up or dispose of their body in the woods. They may do different things, but that is unusual.
The problem with SKers these days here, in my opinion, is there's just too much. And it's a good thing, there's just too much evidence to be collected these days. I mean, DNA technology, forensic phone technology. There's so many. Yeah, the Celtics are going all the way for sure. I'm a huge Celtic fan. There's just so much more evidence to be collected these days here. So I think that the SKer thing is under wraps for a little while, but just like everything else, let's hope they don't catch up to the technology and start figuring out ways to get around it, right?
Usual, because serial killers are living out a fantasy. They're what they do to another person is fantasy driven, based on a fantasy they've been having since they were a kid, early adolescent. And now as an adult, they're acting it out. And that is the reason why
I know that's still so awesome. That's so great, Paula. I can't wait to see these. You should do those. I wish I could buy you a beer at dinner. You're not too far from me. And no, I'm not a creeper. Yes, you are a creeper, Miranda, and we like you as a creeper. Paula, on your YouTube page channel, that's a good question. I act every single day of my life. Let's a couple more seconds of this. I'm going to play one more thing, and I'm going to get the hell out of here.
we see a repetition of the MO over and over and over again. The fantasy.
I mean, I think the Ladybird Lake unalivings are more, in my opinion, suspicious of some sort of, I don't want to say SKer, but maybe some sort of copycat type thing going on over there. I don't know.
Fantasy doesn't change. For example, one serial killer may prefer to go into a victim's home and kill them there. Others may prefer to lure the victim to go with them in their car. Various things. And then once they have them alone, they do what they do. But it's usually the same thing over and over. And there, so far, has not been a connection like that found with these bodies.
Because wouldn't it be that you have a killer who commits a crime, they see it works, they might not be caught immediately. They say, oh my gosh, you know, aside from what the proclivities are or their MO, if something works, I'm going to keep on doing it in the same manner, right?
That's, you're applying logic and reasoning to something that's very hard to understand.
Fair.
All right. So I am looking into this though, because hold on a second here. This guy here, everybody probably knows. This is Gary Hilton. He's serving a lot of time in prison. I think he's actually got the DP here. But this guy here, I've done a lot of lives on Trenny Gibson in North Carolina. So this guy here is notorious for being the National Forest SKer, right? He got these two, so he was notorious for being kind of like the mountain trail unaliver. So these are his victims here. Meredith Emerson is probably the most talked about one. She literally kicked this guy's ass up on the mountain, and she was kidnapped by him and then eventually unalived by him. And these are some of the other victims that he might be. This one here. But he claims to have started at 61, and I find that very hard to believe. So I've been doing, let me go here, a lot of work with this girl here, Trenny Gibson. Is it Trenny Gibson or Trenny Gibbons? Hold on a second. Anyways, I'm trying to maybe connect this guy. Hold on. Let me get rid of this here. Give me a second. Okay, so let me pull this up here. Sorry, this is kind of like out of the blue here. So this is trending. I've done a couple of lives on this here. She was on a live, I think it was 78 or 76. So she was on a live in the Great Smoky Mountains on Andrews Bald back in 1976. Lost, injured, or missing. 16 years old, 5'3", 313 pounds. So I'm trying to see if this guy here, Hilton, had something to do with this unaliving here or missing person here. And if anybody's ever been out to the Smoky Mountain Range there in North Carolina, Andrews Bald. Here, it's a hiking trail. He did unalive a few people in North Carolina, and I'll do the math in a second here. But let me. So I'm going to get out of this here, and this is where she went missing. Here is in Andrews Bald here. It's the highest peak in North Carolina, I think. Here it's about 6,400 feet or so up. Actually, it's not the highest peak. Just to the west of that is the highest peak. But anyways, this is where she went missing. So I'm trying to see if I can link these two up. He would have been. Do the math here. Hold on a second. 2008. Let me see. He would have been in his 30s, so that would have been right around. If he's really an SKer, that would have been right around the time when he would have been active. So, anyways, all right, I'm gonna play one more thing, and then I'm gonna get out of here. I do want to play this because we've covered this case too here. Stop sharing this here, and I want to go to this guy here. We covered his. This guy was actually in a chase scene out in Los Angeles last year. This is Stephen Paul Gale here. So this guy here basically is in custody now. He's a suspect in some of these 1989 Framingham RAPESs, but he was caught in California last year here in a high-speed chase. And this is the latest on him. DNA from Stephen Paul Gale matches the 1989 Framingham RAPESs, and here's the story.
Centered on DNA evidence, but what
This is out of Massachusetts here, and we did the car chase.
investigators never had was Gale's own DNA. Today, they announced they have it now, and it's a match to that.
What's funny about this guy here is he was claiming that he had yachts and he was living like a lavish life, and now he's saying that none of that was true and he needs a public defender. It's so funny.
Decades-old crime. Stephen Paul Gale appearing by Zoom from the jail for his court hearing today.
Good morning, Mr. Gale. Can you hear us, sir? I can, sir.
He listened without showing much reaction as Assistant District Attorney Catherine Folger updated the judge on a major new development. She says DNA from a swab recently taken from Gail matches DNA evidence from the 1989 crime scene.
The DNA profile from the ejaculate that was recovered from the bag was found to be at least 8.2 octillion times more likely if it originated from the defendant than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual.
Gail was indicted last April after investigators say forensic genetic genealogy linked DNA from the Framingham crime scene with Gail's family tree. The 76-year-old has been in custody since he was captured in California in August after leading police on a dramatic chase through Los Angeles.
Remember this? We followed this. It was funny. He couldn't even get out of the car. They needed to put him on a gurney to get him out of the car.
He had been tracked down to a
Look at this his boat. This is so funny. I'm telling you, people are crazy.
76-foot yacht named the Dior. He was held in LA on decades-old fraud charges before being brought back to Massachusetts in March. Gail first told a judge here he had $1.5 million, but now says he's indigent and not able to afford an attorney. Prosecutors are still working to get his jail calls and tax records from California, and they have a team at the Massachusetts Attorney General's office working to get.
Gail's here? Where's Gail? Where's Gail? If Gail's here, hi Gail. Missed you, Gail. I haven't seen Gail in a while, so I hope she's well. But if you're here, Gail, good to see you. Back to this here.
The data from his computer and cell phone.
Yeah.
Now, Gail has been treated for health problems in California.
That's right. Sorry. Good luck with that. Yeah, this guy's going to be rotting in prison for the rest of his life, hopefully. I remember these cases back in Framingham. I think this guy might have also been involved in more of these and maybe even some unalivings, but who knows?
California and here in Massachusetts, and his attorney said today he was back in the hospital again last week. He's pleaded not guilty. Today, the judge set a trial date for March 2nd of next year. Karen.
Brian Wall's case should be starting pretty soon, too. I'll have to keep an eye on that one. I was going to go over the Adam Montgomery shit tonight, too, but it's not. It's too late for that. So anyways, I'm going to get out of here. You guys have been awesome. I really appreciate everybody. You did one in Providence too. You guys have been awesome. You guys are awesome people. I appreciate everybody in the chat coming in here and listening to my bullshit for 3 hours. Anyways, Miranda, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. JP Hansen, check out JP's channel. He's awesome. Heather, always thinking about you. I'll be kind of like creeping around, making sure you're okay on different lives. I'm not a stalker, though. Thinking about you, though, Heather. I'm always here for you. If you need anything, just let me know. I do have my Facebook channel now, so that we can do that, too. Fur Baby Daddy, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. Dirty Diane is awesome. She's got a great channel. I hope to catch her live next week if I missed it. We going night-night. I hope you're okay. You're officially retired from music? You can't retire from music. It was featured on the Boston News, too. That's so awesome. Paula Fitzhenry, you're awesome. Sweet Shibby, you're great. Heather Brown, we love you a lot. Miranda's great. Who else was in here? JP Hansen was in here. I know Mino Dino was in here. Who else? I know Miss Barbara was in here. I'm going to miss a lot of people here. Let me see here. I know that JCN was in here too. Lisa Joe was in here. Lisa Joe is awesome. Women Doing Chaos is amazing. Women Doing Chaos is great. Surprised she doesn't have her own channel. Does Women Doing Chaos have her own channel? Stephen Lyons was in here. Thanks for coming in all the way from Ireland. I miss Charlotte tonight. I don't know where Charlotte is. Hope she's well too. Charlotte's in England. And Farq was in here too. Farq's in Australia, I think. I hope Farq's okay. If anybody sees Gail around, tell her. I haven't seen Jocelyn either. Hope Jocelyn's okay. Jocelyn's channel, I think, is Butterfly Kisses. Doodlebug was in here. Doodlebug is great. Her channel is amazing. Dirty Diana's channel is amazing too. I'm trying to scroll up here to Tracy Fleetwood. It was in here. Tracy Fleetwood is great. You can find her over on Dirty Diana's channel too. Tracy Fleetwood's amazing. You guys need your own channels. And if I miss anybody, I'm sorry. It's just I can't scroll all the way up all the time. So it just takes forever. But you guys are great. You guys really help out in the chat. I appreciate all the people who put all these great channels in here. Need to go to bed. Yes, you need to go to bed, Paula. But anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, everybody, for watching, everybody for coming in. I appreciate everybody who watches on the replay. That's amazing because I know a lot of people watch on the replay for sure. So anyways, thank you, everybody. Don't die. And I'll see you guys next week. I hope everybody has a great week. Stay safe. And that's it. I'll play an outro and get out of here. Let me stop sharing that. And that's it. We are done. Take care, guys.